Now that's what I'm talking about. Proper moderator. He's such
proper trolling. That's
He's
it.
a proper troll. That's quality work right there, Buck. That's what. That now you're guaranteed to be allowed to be a moderator in my channel. So we couldn't come up with a name for Miserable Guys. If anyone in chat has it, because we're about to start. Oh, actually, we're starting. In fact, we are starting now. Boom.
Yeah, starting.
Hello. Good. Yeah, it is evening. It is evening. It doesn't feel like evening. What's up, guys?
Last I checked, it's evening. Yep.
It is. We are representing our brand. We've got our merchandise on today, which is quite funny. We're both actually wearing it today, which is funny. I got the white one. Yo, Steve Mann. Hey, what's up? We will be getting Jester later, but he's talking now, but he's not really talking. So hang on.
Muted him.
Audio will be he'll be joining us hopefully later on the audio. So what's happened this evening? We had two guests. Well, not guests. Sorry, we had one stream team member. Bok down. Bok is down. He's ill.
Bok is down.
Bok is down. So we've lost Bok this evening, very sadly. And Supermac Ryan as well, sadly, is also down. So. Yeah. Yo, Grid Spitter, thank you for the phone call. And so we lost two people this evening, and I sent out a few quick things to try and see if we could get anybody in. Jester's kindly kind of agreed to kind of drop in, but he's only dropping on audio, unfortunately, so because he couldn't quite make the video setup. So we'll get him in on audio. Yeah, it's one of those things is when you invite people last minute, you don't want to invite too many people, because if I get like 12 people say, yeah, we'll come on, then I have to go through and go, sorry. Yeah. And then they like, some people like really like, you can really butt hurt at them. So I was like, no, I'll just invite a couple people, and we got in. Also, I don't like to. Yeah, anyway, enough of that. 07s, like everyone, if you've never been to the channel, welcome to the Asylum Podcast. This is a weekly podcast. We host this show on my channel and on Miserable's channel. Now, it was meant to be on Miserable channel this week, but because 3.5 is under NDA, and because obviously it's out there to Evocati, NDA, and Miserable's under about 1 million NDAs from all different angles, we're putting it on my channel, because we can talk about leaks, we can talk about all these things, because I'm not avocado, and we can just talk about whatever we want. It's not a big deal, and I'm pretty easy going with stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much kind of what we do every week. We talk about StarCitizen, talk about the news. Welcome, obviously, for anyone from YouTube. Thank you so much. Welcome to the show. I hope you enjoy it. We usually run a show around about 2.5 hours, I think, is our usual. That's what we kind of aim for. Sometimes we go over
4-hour mega chats. We've now kind of narrowed it down a little bit to just stop. I mean, we can go on for days talking, but people say that they can't listen for that long, apparently.
No, I don't know why.
We have to stop. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want us on 24 hours a day?
Yeah, I know, right?
Welcome to the Asylum Live Radio.
Yeah, it's kind of like I was trying to do like justify, like, if ATV gets less and less, we get more and more. But unfortunately, it's become more. It's actually it is impossible to do that.
It's great, but
yeah. So, what have you been up to, Miss, this week? What have you been up to since we had last week's kind of podcast and stuff?
So, I've been under NDA, as always. I was just trying to remember what I was talking about last week. But yeah, so still currently working for JRDF. I think we talked a little bit about it last time, so you can see that I'm still not sure 100% what I can say, but like the desk and everything that was built in Wilmslow, I painted a couple of models to go in that. And then there's like a third model that they put a like Soon TM little placard in there. So I've got the Soon TM ship in front of me waiting to be painted, so I've made a start on that. I'm hoping, so for this project, I'm hoping, because I got a little bit more time than I had on the others, I'm hoping that to record it from grey stage, from unpainted, and then I'm going to record each stage, hopefully, and do like a time lapse or maybe a talk through video. Depends on how long it takes me to paint it and how much editing it takes, really. So I plan on doing that. So I almost said what ship it was then, which don't do that. So I can't tell you what ship it is or anything, but once it's revealed, you'll be able to see it, and it's honestly you'll love what ship it is. It's none that anyone's expecting to see. So yeah, I'm excited to be able to reveal that.
It's
And
not,
also
it's not a carrot.
JRDF.
It's not a carrot. Then.
It's not a carrot. JRDF and Cals is going to be coming on to talk about it as well. But they've got to wait for the official post, I think. So they can't talk about it either.
Woo! Cannot wait. The lady in the pajamas. Do, do, do. Oh, bless. So, yeah, what was I going to say? Yes. So it's not a carrot. Confirmed.
No, sorry, she just watched Calling All Midwives. Not Calling All Midwives.
Calling
Call the
All
Midwife,
Midwives?
or something
Call
like
the
that. Whatever the
Midwife.
fuck it is. She's just like, she cries about it every freaking week, and it just does your head in. But it's the last of the series, so.
So now it's like, do you need to go? You need to go away? You okay? You need to take a moment, like come.
Right, for a minute, I'll go and give her a dummy or something and put her in bed and say, there, you'll be fine.
Yeah. So yeah, what was I going to say? So I'm excited to see. Always excited to see it.
It's not one that anyone's going to be expecting. In fact, I don't actually quite know how the reveal is going to go because it's not one that people are expecting. But I can't see them being able to stop people in Manchester office taking pictures and sharing it. So I presume it's going to be a bit of a reveal when it comes out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So I'm working on that currently, which kind of hinders on my streaming as well because everything I do is NDA. So I kind of want to do some of these creative streams as well, but obviously I can't do that because I can't show it off. So when I can do some stuff that I can show off, I will be showing it off. We're looking to hopefully get the grey cat model that I painted previously, and maybe do like a stream showing off painting that and building it because it's going to be in like kit form. So yeah. And other than that, I was on Captain's Table on Saturday, so we had a good Q&A session on there, which was good fun. And she's pestering now. God, women. Just give me Jesus.
I love it.
Right, Madness, you tell everyone what you've been up to because.
All right, go. I'll hold the fort down here whilst you deal with the end of a TV series. We know how dramatic that can be. So. Yeah, like this week kind of has been pretty crazy for me. I've kind of been, this is the only time, I don't know about you guys, but this is the only time, normally I have no interest in Evocati, but this time is the only time I've ever kind of gone, oh, I'd really be interested in doing Evocati. Because it's actually on something I find really interesting, and it's on something that's kind of really relevant to what I do, which is combat flight model. So for me, this is the only time where I've sat there watching people in other people's channels who I know who are playing what I desperately want to get my hands on. And I've been looking at the leaks and all the rest of it. So for me, I feel, you know, when you kind of, you're out of the cool kid club and you kind of feel a little bit kind of like the one, and you kind of, it's about something that you really want to be involved with. And you kind of just like, damn, I'm not one of the cool kids and I can't get to play with these toys, and it's just horrible. So I've kind of been distracting myself with other things. So I did, Damon Raleigh approached me a few weeks ago, I think it was now. After they'd done the event, when people had been crashing their cars, a lot of the guys had ended up running to the finish line. And so he had said that they'd kind of created like a kind of a thing about the running and the people were running. I think someone maybe mentioned something about a sneaker. I'm not sure, or if it was just something that the Damon Raleigh guys had kind of said. So he sent me a private message on Twitter and said, "Hey, look, I know you do sneakers for a living. Would you be interested in just drawing something up and having a play?" So to keep my mind doing something else besides, my day job is drawing sneakers. But I just had a moment and I was like, I've been doing a bit of research on it in the background. So I was like, yeah, okay, let's do this. I can do this. So I'll show you very quickly. So this is kind of where we'd kind of got to in terms of kind of the initial kind of sketches. So I did this. Oh, Miz, why are you off screen? Sorry, buddy.
Because you didn't do the 3-man setup on that one, did you?
No, I didn't. Of course I didn't.
I've been split. I'm that. Well, what's that? Tim the Tall Man Taylor with a neighbour who just looks over the fence.
Don't worry, we'll sort this out. There you go.
There I am. Perfect. So we get good at this shit. You can do it like in a blink of an eye and you wouldn't even notice it.
Yeah.
So don't be fooled, guys. This isn't actually his work. The one he did was of the Banu croc, which he'll show in a bit.
No, we're not showing any of that. This can show that was on my Twitter. But so this was kind of the first kind of the sketch. So look, the research. So basically, what happened is I looked at kind of the Tumbral Cyclone and the way the kind of the wheels kind of carve in here, and then that kind of ended up becoming the heel logo for the rubber tread and stuff, and that will end up being kind of the overall pattern for the back piece. We kind of did this kind of oversized EVA because obviously you're going to be running. You want it to kind of be tready, and it's obviously going to be on the moon, so it's going to be super lightweight. Blah blah blah. And rubber and stuff, and then we went for this this is what they use in desert running, some of the people, and it's kind of like it's just a bag over your shoes basically, but what it does is it keeps the heat off your shoes, and it keeps it really supposedly really light, like really breathable and lightweight, and I don't know, whatever, they said it was really good. So I was like, that's kind of a cool concept. So we'd put like the space NASA, this is actually the crotch from a NASA spacesuit, dude, which I think is over here. Woohoo!
It's crotch.
It's just this area.
You even know in it.
You don't even know. There's a dick on there, but there is. And so this was the initial concept, and then this one is another design idea as well, kind of like, and maybe one would be for Daymar, one could be for a different moon. I'm not sure yet. And we have lots of other things, but this is how I kind of do the initial work, and then once we've done that, you'll eventually get to this stage, which is what I did previously for the RSI Explorer sneaker. I did donkeys ago. And it's funny when I look back on it, I think how shit it is, and I need to improve it. But and then we kind of go into Illustrator and stuff. So we start everything by like sketches on Photoshop with my tablet, and then we progress on. So that's pretty much what I've been doing with my time, and then playing the last of 3.4 flight model. For the first time, I actually did personal recordings of me flying, just so that I kind of remember what the flight model felt like. And so when I go into the new flight model, I'll be able to do exactly the same thing and see how it differs in the same movements and stuff. So I'll be able to kind of compare, because I didn't do that in 2.6.3, and I wish I'd done it actually on all the flight models. I wish I'd done a private recording for 2.5, and I wish I'd done a recording in the same way for 2.6, and then something for 2.6.3, and so on, because then at least I would have this wonderful video to show all, like you could kind of clip them all. And
but you could have 2.6.3. Never forget.
Yeah, never forget. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's kind of that's kind of what I've been up to, really. That, besides obviously the usual work and doing shit tons of, and I had my son's christening on the weekend, like, so I had all the family round, and it was just it's carnage. I'm just like, I need a rest. I need another week off, I think. It's just like so yeah, that's been me, man. It's been pretty.
Who's worse,
crazy.
The kids or the family?
Probably a bit of both. I think it's just like, you know what it's like. Anyone here that's got family, because we all have family, they know what it's like when you have other family as well, and you've got to mingle.
Wish I didn't.
And then they mingle, and then you've got that awkward kind of like. Honestly, it's not the stream for it. Let's just say this way: my mum has called my mother-in-law the wrong name repeatedly on her sister's name, so. It's
nice.
Yeah, so it was like, yeah, it's been hilarious. I mean, I'm terrible because I always bring it up as kind of like an ice cracking joke. So I always go, Mum, are you going to remember my my mother-in-law's correct name this time? So yeah. Anyway, fun and games. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and I will be obviously videoing. I'll be doing the Daymar Rally sneaker probably this week. As and when I feel up for it, probably in the evening maybe. We'll do some more video evening streams and stuff. It tends to be when I'm quite creative and have a bit of time. So yeah, jump in and watch. And I will try and do a time lapse video at the end.
Don't
and then
forget to get your croc requests in, and it's a good chill stream. I can't believe it.
I'm gonna show you. I'll show it. I'll show the croc stream, because what you did. Because to be fair, you did a good job of this. Hang on, here we go. So this, in the middle of me streaming. So this was what he took a screenshot of this, the cheeky bastard, and then he posted it on, and he posted this on Twitter.
But look at his face as well. He's so excited that he's made crocs. He's like, oh my god, I made crocs.
I can't believe you did that, man.
Space ones, and like perfect. And everyone said that they were like Banu ones. So yeah, they're going to be like the new Banu crocs. I tell you, they'll go in game before his other pair of shoes will.
Yeah. Okay. We move on as quickly as possible. But no, it was a lot of fun. And Miz joined me, and like I said, if anyone, like if you're a creative or if you're arty or working or whatever, we do try and do that a lot here at the Asylum as well. Like I think Miz does obviously his painting. I do obviously drawing and designing for a living as well. We're going to be doing some live video painting and stuff on different things. So it's something that we do here, and I think we want to do more of it. So yeah, it's definitely something that we do. So I think the last kind of notification I'll kind of throw out here is that which I'm going to do this a little bit and then I'll stop doing this. So for this year we have a funding goal of $2,000 which we want to reach to get better audio equipment for myself and for Miserable, so that we can hook up our streams exactly the same every time we do the podcast. Now we've been doing podcasts for 2 years, and it's something that we recognize. We spoke about it before we even started talking about audio and improvements and stuff. So on that note, if you do feel like you want to contribute, don't have to contribute now, but if you want to contribute and help us reach our goal we've had so far, I think we've raised about $200. So if you want to in your free time, feel free to buy t-shirts. If you want to, from our merchandise store, it's all on our cover pages and stuff. If you want to do like bits, donate, anything small, everything from like a penny to $10 or whatever it is, it's all amazingly helpful for what we do. And that's the same with YouTube as well. If you want to become a patron, we really appreciate it. It also means that we'll be able to do audio podcasts, so we'll be able to put it up on potentially things like iTunes.
Keep trying.
And Podbeam.
So this is have one was restricted, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
we talked a lot, so it didn't fit on the thing.
Yeah. We recognize we're going to try and do more content and improve it, but we do appreciate the support. And like I said, everything that I get from when I stream myself is going to meet this goal as well. So it's all good. All right, that's it. Done. Advertisements.
And don't forget BritizenCon.
Oh,
Make sure
sorry.
you go follow.
Yes. Go to BritizenCon. I think I've got a link on my thing. I think so.
April the 20.
Something like the 20th, 21st, 24th.
Yeah, it's a really bad plug.
Yeah, we're really prepared with that one. Sponsored by BritizenCon, the Asylum. It's never gonna happen.
27th, yeah, 27th of April, BritizenCon. Everybody's going there. Well worth going in Manchester. It's a good day out. Loads of devs normally turn up, so yeah, it's a good chance. If you want to ask about the new flight model, you can go and probably pester like some of the devs, find out what they think.
Yes. If you want to get cheeky little bits of information that you'll never get anywhere else, it is well worth going, because you think about it, they usually had a few beers, and there's opportunity for some good information.
Bribery works.
They will deny everything, of course, but it doesn't matter, because you know something that many other people may not necessarily know. So either that, or I think sometimes, I reckon, do you know what I reckon? I was thinking about this the other day. I know in other TV shows and things around the world where they maybe get together, they gather as a group and they say, all right, we're going to try and get into an interview saying a certain word many times. I wonder if they get together and they say, we now are going to agree that this pretend concept ship is going to be a leak. And so when they come to these events, they're all in cahoots. So when they kind of like,
last year we had a shit ton of interviews because there was a problem with the stream. We couldn't actually stream the presentations. So we just got all the devs onto the live stream for BritizenCon and we was interviewing them. It would have been so cool if they just kept dropping like a name and just going, no, we didn't say that one. Don't worry about it. And then all of a sudden everyone's going, there's a new ship. It's a new ship.
Exactly. Or they could like accidentally have like a piece of paper written down with like kind of the pretend kind of, just leave it accidentally on the table or something, designing, like all that kind of stuff. They could be really clever with it and be like, everybody be like just quickly taking photos.
To be fair, I feel like, so was it last CitizenCon when Sandy said something about there being like 2 events in the UK? I feel like that was an on purpose thing as well, because everyone was like, oh my god, everybody, there's 2 events in the UK, and it's like, no, there's not.
It's almost everyone jumped on that so quick, didn't they? And and it was like clearly freaking total garbage. So like it must have been, or maybe it was like an initial plan or something, but they never really, or like you said, it could have been just.
It could have been. It's hard to tell. Box said he's going to knock a dev down, take them back and lock a room and make them develop SC for the latest builds.
Oh my god. That's crazy.
one dev out of 500 to give you the latest build. I think you'll be well behind.
We have. Okay, so do you want to go? Do you want to rock with ATV? Because ATV wasn't too okay. I need to say this little bit of kind of. Everyone was kind of praising ATV, and I was kind of going in my head. I went, let's not get carried away, guys. It's like all of a sudden it was like you were all like a starving man that's been handed a packet of crisps. You know, it's like, this is amazing. It's the best. I'm like, no, it's like 5 minutes longer than the last one, and it's marginally better. So I'm like, from where I go and watch an old ATV from about a year ago or whatever, or go even watch the very first ever ATV, watch that, and then compare it to what we had last week, and you kind of will go, yeah, okay, I see what you mean, Madness. It's kind of like it's better, but not.
I didn't think it was a lot better. I mean, it was slightly longer. I think it was part of it was I suppose a little bit disappointed in what we saw. And part of that I think is to do. So if we jump into ATV, the first thing they were talking about was Area 18, basically. Right. And so my overall thoughts of the whole thing was that the actual Area 18 itself looked very light on anything. Like it just doesn't look anywhere near finished considering we're supposed to be getting it this pack. So I suppose, I mean, there's a chance that we'll just get unfinished, as long as it kind of works. But just get.
I think I actually I'm just going to go to it because I think I've got on my RTV forum section here. Roadmap, Bounty Defender, Arc Corp, Fun Fact. Is this the one? Yeah. This was really quite kind of damning for me to a point, but then there is an answer to this, okay? So I always like to kind of get the juicy stuff. So this is 2017.
I was going to give you that picture, and then I thought,
yeah. And this is 2019. And I kind of looked at it, and we're kind of going, there's been 2 years between, there's 2 years between these two pictures. And you're kind of going, Okay.
Well, there was a better picture on the 2000. So someone did actually post a similar comparison, but they did a better picture on the 2017 one. It was actually looks a lot better even than what that's showing off.
Oh, really?
But as like people rightly said, I mean, the thing I'm hoping that it's just because the one on 2019 was just like a development build, so they're showing it. So it's it's not got all the textures now added because they don't need to, because a lot of the graphics and the lights and everything else is probably more texture based. So they can probably toggle it on and off, I hope, because otherwise it feels like it's a big step backwards from what we had. Because, I mean, obviously that demo we saw, they were flying through the whole city, flying through a big chunk of the city and everything else. And it looked amazing, if not a little bit repetitive. Whereas this one, it's like, it's not finished. That's what it clearly is. It's not finished.
I think they said, Miz, on because they said the Reliant Siegers themselves explained it. They said they completely rebuilt the tile set for Arc Corp to be simpler, and they explained that they did this for performance reasons. And the development literally did a walkthrough of the R&D on the ATV and explained directly that was focusing on the rebuild using very simple shapes with low polygon counts. And I was a bit like, no offense, wouldn't you have done that in the first fucking place? And I'm like, but I'm guessing it's tools. I'm guessing they got a new set of tools that have managed to reduce the poly count and improved it. That's all I can think of, because anyone knows anything about model making, especially for like game or film, it's all about reducing that poly count. So that's kind of like a gimme, So yeah, I'm guessing they got something better.
It's probably a case of it has to be built at a certain, and also I think they knew it was coming up for CitizenCon, and so it wouldn't surprise me if they made it look better because it was being shown off. They want it to look like an end game product, which obviously that couldn't have been working going forward. I don't think it's going to look like the 2016 demo when we get it. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be quite bare, which is what I found ATV this week. That's what I was saying. I felt like it just didn't look like it was ready. So. From the top, the one that you just showed was basically they're showing that there's different landing zones. So that's good. There's going to be like big landing zones, small and medium, so you can land different depending on your And then also, interestingly, it's nice that they've put in some like AI landing zones, so you'll get the same as we've got in Lorville with things going up and down, landing as and when needed to make it feel a little alive. Whereas this bit, which we're showing off now, is the transit system.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what I mean when I say it looks like it's totally unfinished. I mean, they've just got a bunch of cars. As Box says, it does look very much like Guitar Hero. It's just like a long, straight line with the odd random ship flying at you. And on top of that, the other thing that I'm a bit worried about is the whole transit system is meant to be the shuttle bus, right? And we haven't seen a single clip or video of the shuttle bus at all.
No. Well, again, I think we're touching on a few things. It like 3.5 looks like, I don't know about you guys, but from what I looked at the roadmap, and we'll kind of touch on it, but I have massive concerns. Like if Evocati's now got hold of 3.5's flight model, and 3.5 is what's supposed to be out in the next 4 weeks. Is that right, roughly? I would say. PTU, sorry. Yeah, PTU maybe at the end of the month.
March, I think.
So you got 4 weeks to do. Yeah, we'll look at the numbers in a second, but anyway, we'll talk about this a bit more. So yeah, I mean, I was nice. I thought that was a different ship. It's just a Cutlass Black. Okay, fine. It's just a Cutlass.
Yeah.
It's just a Cutlass.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I like the idea of the transit system. I like the I like a different method of going through rather than the bus. It's just that it didn't show it. All it just showed was a long strip, a very long strip. And actually, what you can see through, I think on the next link that I put on there is they do a bit of a fly through the buildings, which is kind of cool. And I like the fact that when you get into the end of that tunnel, like the scale of it is huge, because it's hard to tell sometimes from that. But when you actually see it and it flies underneath, like you're literally looking through a window, and the window's tiny. So that runway there is massive.
I think it looks fucking cool.
Tiny.
When I saw this, because the reality is I'm actually not too worried about them fleshing it out and rendering it and stuff to make it look beautiful, because we know CIG's environment team and
it's going to come later. It's the practical side of it. It's this bit that's not so good when it comes in there, and there is no there's no anything.
Here's my thing though, is like, I don't necessarily mind. We've had this conversation before about CIG is now set them up for always real problems, because everything that they do and release has to be at this ridiculously high level of finish. So when it's nothing like that, we all kind of go, oh, this is a bit boring, it's a bit plain. But honestly, if I could fly through the buildings and it's at this rendering at the moment, knowing what I know that they can do and what they'll get to and polish to, I really don't mind. If the frames are really good and I can do this and fly down low and go through the things, I actually honestly don't care. That's just my personal opinion, because I would be really hypocritical, because I've said many times before that I've been all about, like, give us this like level of kind of grey boxing and just make shit work so we can test flight models and all that kind of stuff. I mean, for me, it's about having the fun and getting all the mechanics in, like, and things working and like animations and even just that's just the way I've kind of been. But I know it has to be beautiful to sell, but I've never been too fussed about it being, because I know I can do it.
For me, I think it would be a nice change of pace for StarCitizen to do that. I think if they could pull themselves away from having everything highly polished and release it as a work in progress, like you said, without the textures, and just have the general buildings and stuff going on there. I think that would be a preferable. I mean, I've already said that a lot of times, like in terms of I would like, even when the ships were coming, I would love to just see my ship in the hangar in grey box stage, even if you can't even necessarily go inside it, just so you can see it being worked on, and then when they drop the next one in, you see it getting slightly more built up. So yeah, I think I don't necessarily want the polish, but the whole thing that worried me more on that little section was that there is no transit system. And that fly through that they showed you is not you flying through it. You're supposed to be on the bus thing that they're going to have, but there is no shuttle bus. So when you land your ship, how are we going to get from landing pad to there when, as far as I can see, there's nothing even implemented yet? Because that little box bit that had no textures or anything in it, that was meant to be I think that where if you imagine it like a tram, where it would stop and then you would get out. and there's like nothing. So yeah, that's the only thing. It's like the actual mechanic bit's not there. The bit that you're showing off there made me laugh because it was like, this is what you're going to come out, and this is going to be your first vista of ArcCorp, and it's like, it's fuck all there. That's not the most impressive view I've seen. It's like,
it's China. That's China. That's just China right there. That is literally, whenever I go to Dongguan or Guangzhou, that is literally the view out of my balcony. Just smog and kind of, so again, it doesn't really bother me. It's just like, that's quite realistic. It's kind of like what a city would be if you had the whole planet was a city. That's kind of pretty much what it would be. It would be, it wouldn't look great. I'm honestly just a bit tired of seeing kind of grungy, dirty, kind of like crappy places. Like, I want to get the Anthem lush, flora, that I want to get the lush planets in as quickly as, but I want to see some beautiful.
And I tried a bit of Titanfall 2 because everyone said how good it is, and I haven't actually played it, so I had a little look at that today. And even that, it's like it's just the bit of color and everything. Like everything seems to be so colorless, and the only color you're getting is like odd punches of color from like signage or something. But even then, it's like it's still very much a grey textured sort of overlay almost. It's almost like a grey filter on even the colors. It's
just. Yeah, it's like freaking burgundy red is fucking on everything. It's like on spaceships, from pirate spaceships. Burgundy red seems to be someone's favorite color. It's like, it's burgundy red on everything with a bit of white, and then then we make it really dirty, and then it's just grey and black, and then like I mean, it's it's a style. It's fine. I get it. It's probably in relation to one of the companies that kind of manufactures and builds the buildings, but. It's like, honestly, ArcCorp is literally burgundy grey, red everywhere. Everywhere.
Like the outposts, they were a little bit cleaner and had a little bit more colour. So I suppose I know I don't know. I feel like you need that. Not that, but you don't want the 600i Origin. Everything's like a doctor's waiting room or a dentist's waiting room. No. You don't want that totally grunged up that everything looks like someone's put shit on the floor everywhere and nobody's used a broom in their life. It's like having that sort of in between. Well, I suppose the more reality thing where we go outside and things have got some colour, but there is a bit of shit on the floor, or it's like it's not. Yeah. You just want that kind of in the middle sort of thing. I know we'll get there though, but it's just
we'll get there. It would be nice. Like, maybe that will be what we get when we get the next system. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's the point. Maybe this system is meant to be human and a bit like we've kind of like run it into the ground a bit. And then the next system will be kind of like a lush, kind of beautiful, system or whatever else, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But at the moment, it's kind of I
think the next one's snow, isn't it? That's what they were showing off.
Oh, is that Microtech? Microtech's wants the snow one.
The geysers from last week.
The penis. The penis
ones, yeah. So it's gonna be like snow planet next. We'll get colour one day. But in the same breath, there's no point in them wasting a shit ton of time designing like a lush planet if their trees aren't ready and stuff, you know what I mean? Like, because we've seen somewhere they've shown the trees and it all looks the same. It's like, well, that doesn't look good. So there's no point in them sculpting it all and sticking it all in and thinking, okay, well, we've now made these trees better. Let's delete them all and put them all back in again. So I suppose there's like a little element of that. Maybe they're working on the assets because, like, we've said it time and time again on this show, and they've said it as well. It's like they're working on tools which effectively make the creation a lot easier. So if you imagine them designing trees, they wouldn't just sit there and start dotting trees on the planet. What they'll do is they'll make trees. Someone's sitting there making a tree, they'll put it in the tool. Then another person makes another tree and puts it in the tool until they've got like a big collection of different shaped trees and sizes and everything else. And then when they go with the big tool that they've invented with the paintbrush, they literally just swipe it across the planet's surface, and then you get a shit ton of varied trees. And there's no point in them just doing that when they've only got one or two trees. So I suppose it's like, we can hope and presume that they're doing like an asset build up in the background rather than necessarily building the planet with it. Whereas they can build a rocky planet because a rock's a freaking rock. It doesn't need that much variation compared to the foliage and greenery and shrubs and plants. So yeah, but, it's like everything. We know it's coming. It's just when, and like it's like we want to see it because it's like you said. We play these other games. And it's making us want it more as well. It's like, oh damn, this is so cool.
I mean, like I said, like like Anthem has got its problems, like all games has got its problems, okay, and the varying degrees. Obviously, some people don't mind or are more tolerant than other people, but the one thing that Anthem has, which is tremendous, is has a dynamic flight model, which is great for moving around. StarCitizen, I want fucking jetpack. Iron Man, so I don't even want jet. I want to Iron Man that shit around. Make sure that Titan suits can do that. Secondly, the visuals, the environment, gorgeous, just wonderful. Now, don't get me wrong, I wanted more variety. In a way, they did the opposite of StarCitizen. StarCitizen's gone for the dreary one look. They went for the luscious tropical one look. You know, I kind of was like, okay, as beautiful as this is, can we now go to another part of Anthem where maybe we're in the hills in the snow or different, you know, what would be...
Which we'll probably get eventually, but yeah.
Exactly the same as StarCitizen. It's like, you know, we want so much more. It's like we've digested, so we're so ravenous for you know, we just like, oh, gobbled, done. Next.
Yeah.
But it's like we have been seeing the same type of thing, and they spoilt us with pictures of like the 600 on like beaches and floating over waters, and people have done their own fan art, and like we were just saying about the Banu, obviously have like a Banu water planet with like cool giant algae and the lawmakers stuff, and we don't even know anything like Vandal stuff. I imagine if they bring me Vandal planets, which they will, it's just gonna be more dreary destroyed planet systems. It's like I don't want that. I'd like to see, you know, and then the Tavarian were destroyed by humans, so that's more destruction and destroyed, and they become folded into our society. So it's like
the dark world out there.
It's like the Banu were traveling merchants, as far as I'm aware. They spent their whole time, so they travel. So again, it's like, okay, maybe they'll have like we say a water planet. So we're left to the Jan, and then whatever the Jans, the race that we don't know about. I can't remember what they're called. The Catherall, is that right, or is that someone else?
No, Catherall's the ship, isn't it?
No, it's sorry. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting it wrong. There's another race that we're not allowed to meet, supposedly. I forget what it's called now, but people reckon it'll be a cat race, similar to like what he did before a Wing Commander.
Oh yeah.
But we'll see. But yeah, so yeah, it's coming. Just the usual kind of. I would like to see it a bit sooner, if that's possible. But then the ATV moved on to. I'm going to go to Reliance. We'll go to the other thing, the middle bit section at the end. But
okay.
We'll do the Reliance.
So yeah, they basically. I mean, so I like the Reliant. I don't like flying it, but I like the design and the style of it. I was a little bit disappointed with it, I think. Oh
really? I'm surprised.
Well. So there's some things that didn't kind of make sense. So like they made the ship bigger, and I mean there probably is a reason for it, but they made the ship bigger, and then when they were talking about like the beds inside the thing, it goes, oh, they're tiny beds. They're really tiny beds. They're like coffins. It's like, well, if you extended the ship to make it bigger so that it would the beds in, why didn't you extend it enough so that it would be a proper bed rather than a little coffin? But that seemed a little bit odd. And then the other thing that seems a bit strange from it is they sold them all as variants, but this ship more than probably a lot of the others, you can see how easily it's not really a variant difference. It's a module. So as you can see on this is like the original Reliant core. Then they extended it. This is the new extended Reliant core, so it's made the back a little bit bigger. I think you can get an extra couple of cargo in there. And then they show you a picture of it turning it into the did they show off first? Was it the news van, the Mako?
We've got the hang on, which one we have?
Yeah, the Mako first.
The Reliant core and then the Mako. Yeah, we got.
So when you see it change to the Mako, they literally like nothing changes really on the inside. They just swap stuff through it. So you have that's the Tanner one, that one. So you got the armor boxes and things, which means like to me in some ways it could have been sold as modules, a bit like the Caterpillar modules. Like why couldn't you just swap out what was inside it? So if you've got like a certain core, you could easily have changed.
I can tell you. So why sell a $10?
I know what.
Versus sending a £100 spaceship.
Yeah.
$100 spaceship versus a $10 piece that can fit in it. That's the reason why all these modularity stuff has been binned off for the time being. I think. Yeah, because they realised they could sell ships.
So yeah, you can clearly see that it could easily be a module if you wanted to, and then you could go to somewhere and get it refit as a module because it's literally been made so that everything fits in the space that's there, and they don't even change it. So the bedside stays as the bed size. So it's literally just that little section where they put a couple of extra units in. But it's cool, and it's going to be an interesting ship. And the other thing as well is, like, I've got the transfer to change mine into a Mako because I wanted to probably have the news van.
Yeah.
And I'm just, again, a little bit disappointed what they've done. I like the computer system. I just think it's a bit odd with the only camera that they seem to... I was hoping there'd be some sort of drone system or something, potentially, that you could send out a camera drone and record stuff, which doesn't look like we're going to get. And then all they're showing you was this later on, like a camera pod that basically fits on the wingtip, so it replaces the gun, and it'll be a camera pod. And then it's like, well, how good is that camera going to be stuck on the edge of your wing? Like, are you going to really get any decent angles or film footage looking from there? As opposed to even being on the pilot seat. I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of stuff where we don't, because we still don't know the mechanics from it. It's very difficult to know. But even these modules, they're all the same. Same as the science thing. It's the same camera sensor in the middle. It's just got a sticking arm out bit. It's not really... That's what it makes it all look like the same, just very slight changes to them. Yeah, I agree. I do think the pilot would have to be pretty much stationary for the camera turret to work. Realistically, it's no different to using, say, like the remote turret in the Hornet. You know, when you sit in there and you look at a computer screen, that's what it's going to be like when you sit at the thing. So
I don't know. Does this have a? I thought they were going to make the camera a drone that would detach from the ship.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I hoped, but
they didn't do that.
They've not mentioned it at all.
That
doesn't look like it. No.
We were hoping for the same thing. They just made it a little camera that plugs in at the bottom there, like you said.
Yeah. Which it's just like a remote turret that you have on the Hornet or any other ship. I mean, it's going to have a fancy overlay. I mean, it might even be worse, like, because if you sit at your screen and you're watching it through a screen, the camera, like, it's like now me sitting here and watching the camera on mine, like, it's almost like watching CCTV. You're not going to be in the turret. Like, when you go into the remote turret, it actually puts you inside the screen. It may do that on this. We don't know yet. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of unknown features in it. So,
interesting. Well, I've never been a fan. I've always felt that the Reliant was the ship you gave to people that you didn't want them to play StarCitizen ever again. You know, it was that kind of like, I don't like this person, but they're trying to get into my game, so I want to give them a ship that they'll never like and never fly. So they'll think it's kind of cool because it's when you can sell it to them, because you could say, because look at this, the wings do this, and it's amazing.
Looks cool though.
You know, that's what I'm saying.
That's
you can
what
sell it
more, because it really it looks and could potentially. It's so different to most of the other ships that are out there. The fact that it changes and you can change the way it flies and everything, it's so good, and yet it's so shit. And I'm desperate to try it with a new flight model just to even see if it flies better than it did before. Because technically now, with the way that the engines rotate and that it's supposed to fly better in atmosphere, I think. But that's obviously another thing that we've got to wait and see to believe, I think. So.
Do you know, like we just discussed it about the drone. Surely they must have thought about it in their work environment and gone, oh yeah, maybe we should put a drone with a camera on here, and then people can buzz around. Well,
especially when they had the drones. If you remember that, I think it was like an ATV ages ago, where they had the picture-in-picture with the drone flying and the bloke dancing, and it followed him. Like, that's what I was expecting. So the pilot could be flying it. And then also, if you had it as a drone cam, it wouldn't matter if the pilot was all over the place, because you can keep your camera steady. Having the camera attached to the wing just seems like a really bad idea. I mean, look how bad it is in the turret at the moment. So to have it, the camera fixed to the wing of it, it kind of I felt. That's why I'm saying disappointed. It feels like it doesn't work. And then if you have to have the ship still, which it might be one of their arguments, well then why have the second passenger? You might as well just have the pilot get out of his seat and do it.
Yeah, my worry about having like that on the end, like where that is now. Like, you can put one obviously at the top, I'm guessing, and one at the bottom, so you could maybe have two cameras on there, or I'm not sure how you do it. But
the only way that would work is if they allow the screen to show you two cameras, which is that's actually, unlike a turret where you could stick two turrets, which they talk about with the Tanner. I don't know if you could actually do that with a camera.
You could do it on this. Oh, okay. So then, oh yeah, well. But my thing is like, could you imagine you take off and as you're leaving Port Olisar, you just clip the side where the camera is.
You're sitting there on the camera and you just see the station going, oh, no, come on, pull up.
And it's like you're setting off for an important camera moment, or you're kind of like you're just close to the land. You know, you've just taken off, you're coming off near the land, and you just do that, swing it like this, and then knock off the camera, and it's like, oh, you're right. You know, you're filming. You're really important. You're meant to be filming something really important, and you've just knocked off your camera on the wing. And it's like, oh, I could just. Like I said, I honestly feel they would have been better with maybe a drone system, or probably mounting that probably nearer the cockpit. Honestly, in a more interesting way. I think it's a bit.
Honestly, I think it's
dangerous.
Drone. I can't see it without a drone. Yeah. I honestly can't. Because, like as people said in chat, your ship will wiggle too much. If you're trying to, I mean, come on, who's going to watch a YouTube video of someone playing? And it's like, would you watch a turret video? Like, say you were trying to watch a race, and it was through a turret in the ship of that ship, then following the people racing. Like, would you watch a video like 20 minutes long of this thing trying to fight against the pilot, which is what you're going to be doing? You're going to be fighting against the pilot constantly to try and get your camera to face the right way. It's stupid idea.
Exactly,
stupid.
you'll get nauseous. Like anyone knows that. Like you just all the videos on YouTube. Yeah, you just feel sick as a dog.
Maybe that's something that someone better than me needs to put on Spectrum as an idea, because maybe they haven't thought of it. Which they tell you they thought of everything, and maybe they have. But you know, I honestly think without that, it's a pointless. And I mean, I wasn't sure how well it was going to work anyway. Like, even if you had it as a drone, to be able to have it work in game and film it in game and record it in game with all the lag and everything else, like, I always wondered whether that was going to be a good ship anyway. And then to have it with a fixed camera on the end of the ship, it's like, no, it's just, I can't see that working at all.
Yeah.
You might as well have the bloke sticking his arm out with a video camera in his hand going, yeah, I got it.
That's like me when I was doing like my cycle streams and like mounting the camera to the front bar of the bike.
Yeah.
It's just
exactly
like,
that. It's exactly what it's going to be like. But like realistically, like if the way it is now, if you have, because you've got a co-pilot and there's two seats for them, the co-pilot, instead of going on the computer, could sit in the spare seat and then press F4 to go to third person and probably record a better cinematic than you're going to get from that camera. That's,
we don't know that for sure, obviously, but I think that's probably a well-educated potential like truth in honesty, like but saying that, it's one of those weird ones where I kind of, you know, when you think to yourself, have they wasted their time a little bit on this one kind of thing? You know, he's kind of, we were talking off stream about like when I was doing the sneaker and stuff, like I don't spend too much time dilly-dallying over amazing sketches. Like I leave that to people who are unemployed and who are trying to get a job. You know what I mean? Like that's the way that's where that lives, is where you want to make the best impression, make your drawings look amazing and incredible. But I work in the real world where I have a deadline and a time limit. And so for me, I haven't got time. I don't need to spend huge amounts of time to make something look flashy. I need to make it look reasonably good and explain the story and the concept of what I'm trying to do. And then if I really want to make it, dial it up better, I can do that when the shoe's made and take beautiful pictures of it finished. And then sometimes I think CIG, and the reason as well is when I'm doing the process of drawing up, I'll draw like from multiple angles. You know, I'll do all the different kind of views and stuff, because it's so that I can kind of check that everything kind of lines up in different places and different kind of positions and stuff when I'm drawing a sneaker or whatever. And it's amazing how when I switch it from one angle to another angle, immediately something doesn't line up and I'm like, shit, and I have to redesign it. And we were just saying that we wonder sometimes, just in theory, that sometimes they get so wrapped up in polishing one thing in one view that then all of a sudden they forget, and then they move it around and then they go, oh shit, we didn't think about that. That's not quite worked.
Looks terrible from this side.
Yeah. Yeah, they just wasted a load of time. I'm sure that's not the case, but it's just like in an analogy, it's the kind of analogy we were just thinking about. Like sometimes it's like this, we were saying about over polish. Sometimes like like for this one, it just feels. I don't know about this one. It's like they've had so much time to get this right, and I still feel like they're kind of missing the mark a bit on it. Just a little bit.
All they've done is, well, even the science version, right? So basically, we've waited all this time for the variants. They've now said that we've got the variants. We haven't got the gameplay mechanic behind it, so that's not been done. And then even the science one, he stopped in there and said, "Well, look at this." He goes, "But don't look at it, because we've just put placeholder. We basically went round and found sciencey things and put sciencey things in there because we don't know how the science mechanic's going to work." So it's all just a little bit. I know they've got to design one before they get to the other, but it is all just. It feels a little bit of a clusterfuck of, oh shit, right? We're designing this ship, but we don't have a clue how any of it's going to. So if they don't know how science is going to work, how do they know if it's even going to fit in the back of a Reliant? And
they have no
what
idea.
made them pick the fucking Reliant out of any other ship? Like, why? It's like they just sat there and goes, "Oh, we got this nice Reliant. What can we do? Oh, let's make it a news van. Let's make it a military thing." Like, who? What made them pick that as the version to do those things with anyway? And especially when it doesn't fit, and then they tell me, "Well, we've got to make it bigger, so now it fits." And then
I think you're right, though. I think it's that whole kind of the chicken and the egg. What comes first? And then for me, in a way, in reality, probably you really think about it. Most of these ships that haven't got their actual game mechanics even fleshed to the point where they're properly finished, or at least where we've seen assets and things really done, they should probably be skeleton bodies, like just long, big ass tubes, really. And then we should just walk up to the cockpit, sit in. The only things that really should probably be pretty fleshed out will be the cockpit area where you go in the animations and work. But the main bodies of a lot of these ships should be probably very skeletal, and we should just be getting in and being able to go. Obviously, for one end, you should have a floor, and that should probably be it. And then everything else should be empty, really, when you think about some of them. And you should be able to fly them and be able to do whatever else. With the idea of, they show you graphical images and pictures and drawings and say, look, this is where we're at, this is what we're envisioning, and you can kind of see that, and then wait until
they've literally just said that we don't have gameplay for the other Reliant variants, right?
Yeah.
So what different? So all they've really changed, and I've just said that really the back just looks like a modular change. They've just ripped some things out and put things in. So all we're really getting is a bed. So what they're doing is they're putting 2 beds in. That's basically, so we're waiting all this time on these variants, but all they're really doing is putting 2 beds in, and then the other half is where all the mechanics are going, but they don't know any of the mechanics. So all of that is a placeholder on every single one of the other ships.
Yeah.
So technically we've waited all this time for the variants, and all you've actually got is a double bed. It's like, okay. And why are they wasting their time putting assets and shit in if none of the mechanics work anyway? They might as well have just given us the 2 beds and left the other side empty and said, well, until it's done, this is what it looks like. Because otherwise, if you look from the outside of it, all it is a color change and a fancy looking turret thing on the end that doesn't work because they haven't got the mechanics for it.
What's that thing they used to have? They have like sometimes coming soon. They have like a box, like a square asset box, which has like a graphic on it that says
without textures on it. Yeah, it says soon.
It
says replace me or something.
Yeah, replace me. Yeah. I'm like, you could just stick that shit in there, or maybe do something else a little bit more interesting and kind of comical. You could put Disco Lando's face on something on there. And then you can...
I mean, the science one that they've done, I don't 100% know, but to me it looks like they've gone and grabbed assets that they've used in the outposts. So, there's like a lab outpost and that. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's what those are, which would have really, how long did that take? To sit there and go, right, just stick a microscope on the table and the unit there. Okay, job done. Like, because they're not doing the mechanics. They're just doing the layout. It's, I don't know. It's
true. That's you could argue if they're using it in-game already existing assets, they're not having to customize anything particularly, then that's fair enough.
If we were waiting for it because they were working on mechanics as well, and we had some form of mechanic to come with it, then I would get it. But really, they're just doing the view of it. And like I said, it doesn't look like the ship. They haven't changed the shape. They haven't changed the outlay, and the bits that they're adding to it don't work anyway. So, yeah.
I think do you know what? Honestly, my biggest thing with StarCitizen at the moment, which I noticed, it was the same with the RTV with David Coulson. Now, I love David Coulson. I think what he was doing is really good. Actually, I was nervous before. I've reduced. I'm not going to choke you out, David. When I see you next time, you're safe from me. But he was saying the same kind of language as like all of the other things, which is just this constant iteration of soon. Whenever I ask any questions, it's like, yeah, we've talked about it. It's coming soon. Yes, it's something we're going to do soon. It's something we're working on. It's going to be doing this. We're going to do this. I've got other examples, I think, in the document, and it's just this constant, like, forever. And I've said this before, but it's like, if I seriously if I was designing for my company and I just thought like that, I would not have a job. I would be fired, because you can't think. You just can't think like that when you're creating a product that's for consumers and for people out there. There does need to come. You do need to deliver some stuff, and like it just seems like it's a giant play toy all the time. Sometimes it's just, and it's like maybe that's like our fault, as the backers. We kind of like said, yeah, you don't need a publisher, you don't need whatever. Here's all the money in the world. Go play and be creative and play in the sand and do all that sort of stuff. And it's like. And then a part of me is kind of going, yeah, actually, what? Can you come out of the playing out the sand, please, and finish the game, and kind of get on the get going, And I think that's slightly our fault a little bit, partly their fault too. But it's just the mindset seems to be this, just. Yeah, we're going to try this and do a sprint here and a sprint there and do this. And do this. Never finish this. Never finish that. Never finish this.
They've already said multiple times that the ship developers and the ship designers aren't linked to the gameplay mechanics in that, which is fair enough. And it's almost like we've got to get them. We've got lots of ships to make. We've got to get them designed, so we might as well put them to work. But they're being put to work on something it's taken a long time to get those Reliants out. And I suppose probably what's happened is they haven't actually worked on the Reliance for very much. That's probably the reality of it. Like I said, it probably didn't take them long. It probably hasn't taken them long, because they have said before that they work on one sprint, and then when that's finished, they come off and they work. They did say something like the smaller ships are like pickup jobs. So if the design team's working on a big ship and then they finish their job, instead of bringing them onto the big ship and causing more issue, they give them pickup work. So yeah, in reality, it probably wouldn't surprise me if these Reliants were like a pickup job, where it just gave people that were waiting for the next big ship to come along something to do in the meantime, which I suppose would make more sense. It just feels like a little bit of waste of time sticking the assets in there when they don't do anything. They're not even designed to be in there, but I kind of get it, if that's what it is. But
they feel like they're slow. They're very slow out the blocks naturally every year. They're always very slow out the blocks. But I think like if I stuck Gamescom like now, I don't think they'd be so slow out the blocks if they were going. Do you know what I mean? Like if they had CitizenCon in like 3 weeks time or whatever, I don't think they'd be slow. I think they'd be at it. It's like I think that they're very slow. Their year is like my day when I'm being creative. By the end of the day, I'm kind of most creative type of thing. It's like they're like that. Take the first half of the year or 3/4 of the year. It's kind of slowly, and then they like, oh my god, we have to present something. Shit, we better make it look like we've done something. And then they ramp up a huge amount of work. And then the last part of the year is always fantastic and glorious. And we go into the next year going, yes, it's going to be amazing. They're going to push forward. It's going to be the best year yet. And then we kind of go get back into a great big slump again. On content. Now I know we talk about Squadron 42 this year as the priority. So last year it was performance for the persistent universe with Bind Calling and what was the other one? I'm forgetting the name of it now. Bind Calling and something else, which was super important. I've completely slipped my mind now. But anyway, it was the other kind of server side, super important. Thing that they're working on.
Object container streaming.
Object container streaming, thank you. And that was clearly thank you, OCS. That was clearly what was taking up all their focus. And I think this year we're going to see it with Squadron 42. That's potentially their deadline thing.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
And the same again with the ships on that. The ship designers are going to be working on the Vandal ships, because that's where we're going to be meeting them all. So there's going to be a lot of Squadron 42 ships. So don't forget, we're getting the drip fed of the UEE side of ships. But there'll be the Vandal ones that they're all working on as well, which obviously we don't get to see at the moment. So there's a lot of ships are there. I think I imagine they got more than just 2 ships to Vandal.
Yeah. No, I do think that like if there was something else a bit sooner in the year, that I think we might see a bit more ramp up, more visual. I don't know. It's kind of weird because I'm kind of. Like this comes back to the whole subbing and CIG's kind of like lack of kind of communication sometime again still this open development, but is it open development, is it not open development, how much do they communicate with us? This year has felt very kind of like this whole idea that kind of we're really really bad people because we complain about things if it's good and we complain when it's. I'm like, Sergio, you just need to ignore us when we talk about bad things and just listen to the good things. Seriously, most of the time. Like when someone is negative about our fucking podcast, I don't really listen to it too much. I just usually send up the odd thing here and there.
Get used to it with how many people are negative. It's fine.
Yeah, you just get used to it at the end of the day. Exactly, you get used to it.
That's why we do it every week.
What do we? No. So yeah, no. It's. So to say that it's kind of like our fault and like, you know, we're not going to give you any information because you guys always hate it. I'm like, grow up.
I feel like I suppose it's because it's a new thing for not only them but a lot of companies. I mean, it's early access and all this shit has been a relatively new thing in the gaming industry, other than the demo. And like they're taking it too much to heart at times. You know, it's like. When we slag it off, it's like, oh, fine. 10 people have complained, right? That's it. We're not giving them that info.
Yeah,
anymore.
it's like, what? How old are we?
It's like, yeah, but there's like hundreds of people that love it and just don't say that they love it because they're just lapping it up. Like, don't take everything. Just because some people, like, you can't please everybody. There are going to be people that moan.
Yeah.
Just share what you want to fucking share. You know, don't worry about people moaning I do think the press and the magazine companies are a big part to blame, or
they are pretty.
I think they're reacting probably more to them than they are as us backers, because they're worried about the negative publicity on all these game articles, but they don't seem to understand that these game articles will put anything out if it means clickbait and they get someone to read their article. That's pretty much what it is. Like I get like on my phone now, I don't even know why it's happening, but like every day I get like a notification of all different random news, and every time there's someone sneezes in StarCitizen, there's like a thing going up. Oh, StarCitizen spent 300 million and somebody sneezed. It's like, what? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And then the next day it'll be really positive. Oh, this next patch is really good. And then the next day it'll be, oh, but it's really shit again. And it's just literally to get people to click on the article. That's all it is.
Exactly. And that's the thing is like, and I know they talk about like, you know, we're building our game and all this type of thing. And I'm like, well, yeah, you are. You're building your own game. So don't get so like a kid. Like, I'm not playing with you anymore. I'm going to take my football. Because I don't like you, away from you. And so I'm like,
the best response is if they get an article that says, look at the state of Arc Corp, there's no graphic. Like, they get it anyway. Look, we just showed a picture of it. We're just going to get it anyway. So when someone says, oh, look at the state of it, where's all the textures? You reply with, it's in development. That's why there's no textures. And then just move on.
Yeah. and you're going to have like, I have it on, there's a wonderful Reddit thing, which I thought just sums up exactly why you shouldn't really give a shit, honestly, was, where is it? Hang on, let me just see if I can grab it. I need to kind of like find a way of doing this. Basically, it was like one person. Oh yeah. Why are there tonks in game? I just asked myself that. This is some of the things. This, in truth, they are not in game. Just like, and I said they're not in game, just like the Redeemer, because it's just trash. I'm not a fan of the tonk. I don't get it. I don't really want to have that in game. But this person basically went and posted on Reddit saying didn't like it. Okay, but then literally on the next page, there's somebody saying how much they love the tonk and they got one and they're really looking forward to the gameplay mechanics for the tonk. And he says, but I'd love to drive a tonk across the surface of the moon. I don't know what other people think, but I'm really looking forward to the Nova tank. So it's literally, we have polar opposites of people's opinions. So again, it really, like, to blame us and to say this is why you're not getting content, I think just screams, one, childish, two, is like looking for an excuse. And I'm like, if you're looking for an excuse, that's not good enough for me, considering we spoke about this last week. $250K a month they were making in 2017. I'm pretty sure they're probably close to the same, more, maybe less, who knows, could be considerably less, I don't know. But if you're making that kind of bank from your subscription models, I don't know why they don't potentially fund an open PTU where we can see constant builds and small builds and information from that money. I would happily subscribe every single month to be access to a open PTU permanent build where I get consistent fun builds to mess around with in StarCitizen. Think of the crazy fun. I think you would probably have more people probably playing in the persistent universe, playing with builds, mining new builds, mining updates. Hey guys, we've got this new mining update we want you to test. We've got this new flight model we need you to test. We've got this new, like, all the things that they do. Like, seriously, if they could find a way to stabilize it, ultimately would pay for it, I would be down. That would be hilarious because it would be just crazy fun, just to mess with stuff. So again, I don't know why they don't necessarily do that. Honestly, it's just crazy. They got so much. Yeah. Anyway, that's we talked about a little bit of that last week on the subscribing thing, and I don't really want to kind of get too much into it myself. But what I am concerned about, we'll come back to because we were on ATV, which was, I don't know what's everyone's thoughts about the turret system. This was a really hot kind of thing. What was really interesting, actually, Reddit lost its shit more over Arc Corp, it seems, not looking great, which I thought was really funny. And then I remember, I know no word of a lie. No word of a lie. I was in AWOTL's Angels of the Wing. I was in their Discord, and I think it was on fire. Like when we were talking about gimbals in the gimbals channel, it was like I think Red Lear came in after like 20 minutes. He said like we had 660 or something messages. It was like well over 1,000 messages between combat pilots, and there was like 10 it felt like 10 conversations between different people firing off all different things, arguing for why the gimbal system is a good thing, why it's a bad system, what we weren't thinking about, what you're not thinking about. It was on fire. It was lit. It was one of the most engaging and most interesting conversations I've seen between combat pilots fighting. And it was fascinating because then I had Evadius, who's from Black Label, who runs Black Label and org and stuff, and he's like ex-UINS with me and stuff. And so he was like, you guys, like, so many combat pilots are losing their shit over this, like it's not a big thing, like, and he was arguing why it's not a big thing, and it was incredible hour and a half of just insane. I must have had almost 2,000 Discord messages, I think, on that day talking about the auto gimbals. I changed my name to little bit of gimbals briefly in a couple channels just for some fun. It was fascinating to see all the different people's opinions. I even tweeted out a little kind of the greatest hits kind of thing on my Twitter, just to say kind of the things that I was thinking about, the 3 things. But there's a bit more than 3 in the end. But yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. And I wonder, and we'll bring up the video. We'll bring up the video and then we'll talk about it. Miz will give me his perspective on it, and then we'll get you guys maybe in chat. You guys can tell us a little bit on yours. We don't want to talk about it for too long, but it's got many different avenues of potential good and bad. So yeah, here we go. So the first thing actually was the turrets. So this I thought was really interesting because many people said that this is a good thing. And I was just curious because they basically created a manual ESP for turrets, because you can do this with my mouse. I have a mouse with buttons, and I can just do my DPI on my mouse. So I can just one click on my mouse, and I can make my DPI go really fast. Like now, there's my mouse, and then I can bring the DPI right down. That's right down to 0, and then that's up to max, down to 0. And it's struggling to move across the screen. I can do that myself with my mouse. I don't necessarily need to have that in game. I'm sure most people they can do that. So they've kind of built an additional system in here. I'm guessing you can keybind this, so I can keybind this to my mouse again. So maybe I get more finite controls over this. Maybe that's a good thing. I'll be able to be even more ESP, I guess, over my thing. That's just the one aspect.
Not everybody's got a mouse that can do that for a start. And then secondly, I suppose if you're using a joystick for aiming, then you can't do it so much for that, but you will. They did say you'll be able to bind it, so it's just a way to be able to speed up or slow down your turret, which I think
okay.
I think it's a good addition. Like you said, you could not use it and use your mouse if your mouse is good at. So I think for the joysticks it makes sense. When you say joysticks, I think that kind of makes more sense. Like other things, because I was using. So when I was with Lithius, I was in the turret and I was using the joystick for using the turret, and I had that issue where I couldn't do small movement; it kept jerking too far or something. So that would help with that, definitely.
That would probably make more sense to me than a mouse, in truth, if I was thinking. Because I'm like, honestly, a 402 with a couple buttons is so cheap. You can get it on Amazon for like, what's it, like $20 now, and it's got This is the one I use, and it's a Logitech. And I know some people, but it's seriously, if you're going to play mouse and keyboard games,
this is kind of something we touched upon, or maybe I did on the Captain's Table. But it's like the problem with having these extra features, like the real downside more than anything, is it's just so many things. It's like yet another page of key binding. Like when you have to flick through 20 pages of key bindings because they keep adding little extra things that can be controlled with a button. I mean, it's great. People love the amount of customability and the things that you can change. But on the flip side of that, is constantly got to. I fly HOTAS at the moment. It's what I bought at Christmas, and like that's all I use. I mean, I might try a keyboard and stick or 2 sticks later, but whatever. And like I've used someone else's profile, and for me, I just hate whenever there's a new patch when they change all the key bindings, because I don't even know where to begin. I just look at the pages of key bindings and I give up before I even start. I just look and go, I don't know where the fuck everything is, because there's so many things. And I feel like that's the only downside. Even if you don't necessarily have to use them, they're still in your face. You're still looking at them going, what the fuck is all this for?
Yeah. And it's only going to get probably a bit worse, if in truth, guys, because as the more and more complicated game mechanics come in, I think I was looking at it again with the RTV thing. They commented on some of the extra things that are coming in, key bindings and stuff. By the way, some of it are tremendous. I think there's one thing which they've added, which we'll talk about later, which is just, I was like, this, bravo. I was so happy, so happy with the team, David, and the team that have been working on the flight model. I was like, why didn't you show me this shit like 3 weeks ago? I would have been like, I wouldn't have needed to write, I wouldn't have done a concerned video. I would have been very happy if they had communicated very early some of the things. I would have been very happy. On some of the things, because a lot of it did change from what I saw at, they did comment, a lot of it's changed from what they first showed at CitizenCon. So it's like, God, you could have showed us this weeks ago, some of this stuff, but maybe they wasn't ready. Who knows? I think he had to basically wait for Chris.
He said it wasn't ready and stuff. So
yeah, I guess they're waiting for Chris's stamp of approval. I think that's probably why David was over there, to get Chris to to finally sign it off, I'm guessing, and to kind of talk about stuff. But overall, the turrets, though, I think is good. They're looking pretty solid. I generally think that they're getting better, and finally we can hit things, and that will probably help a little bit for people. And I'm overall very happy with the way turrets are finally progressing. I do think
it's positive that they're still tweaking them. So it's like, until we all feel, until the majority feel like it's working as we want it to be. It's nice, and I'm not going, no, point blank, this is how we want it to be. It's tough, that's how they're working. So I think any little tweaks, anything to try and make it a little bit better is what we're after anyway. So yeah, it's good to see.
Good night, Bok. Get some rest, mate. Hope you feel a bit better tomorrow, dude. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for banning me in my own channel. Or trying to. That's the good thing is like, I don't know how many iterations they've done on turrets. I think if they had got to this place and they still hadn't managed to be able to, so that we could hit people, I would have just been like, come on, what's going on? But now I think it's like, it's similar with the flight model. They have to go all the way over here, and then they have to then go all the way over here, and then all the way over here, and all the way here, and then they finally take all of that information, which is probably normal, to be fair. I've never done a game, and then they go, okay, now we've taken all this information. I think we need to go in this direction. This is the right way to go, and then they kind of.
To be fair, the turret thing's completely changed because of the flight model as well. So because you make it work for fast gameplay, and then you slow the gameplay down. It's like that's another thing that's relying on the flight model. It's like
Yeah, that's true. That is, and that makes life a hell of a lot easier for turret people when the ships are flying a lot slower. Then it's like, oh, brilliant! We've got way more time on target to be able to hit them, and then we get to the Pierre, the resistant, like just the best part for people, which is this. Like I said, is when everybody went ballistic. It was like literally like fireworks. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. Now, CIG have a wonderful ability of just dropping this stuff without any kind of real thought into how they're delivering this to people, to try and maybe even not just necessarily soften the blow, but just kind of like if you're doing this because you want to gauge what the community's reaction to this is, firstly, do not make it so it's finished and stick it on ATV, because we all know ATV is technically meant to be finished. Do it a bit earlier and see. If you don't care, which I think get the impression, then don't say after the fact many changes will occur and this, after you've seen it explode up on Reddit and people are all over the place, because that just looks like you kind of, it's just, they could do a lot more to help themselves.
But it's like you said with the David Carlson and the flight mechanics. So when we was watching RTV, he mentioned lots of things that, we're working on it. We're working on it. Don't remember them once saying they're working on an auto aim for gimbals. Does anybody remember a slight like? And that's what you mean by dropping it out of nowhere. It's like if you had hinted about it in a previous RTV or an ATV, saying, we're looking at maybe having a sort of auto assist or an assist on your targeting system.
Then you
would have kind of understood it.
They have kind of talked about it a little bit. They kind of, not like it was to do with NPCs and stuff. I think it was to do with helping them like lock onto things and hit things and stuff. And then they have touched on it very briefly, but it's been very, very subtle and not really. And obviously this was then suddenly it's like, it's finished and it's an ATV and it's coming out soon. It's like, okay. It's a bit like, imagine if they'd done this like the golf mechanic that everybody lost their shit over. It's like, by the way, here's the golf mechanic. It's finished, it's done, and it's coming into game. Enjoy. It would be like,
enjoy it. Give us feedback.
Yeah. So anyway, like so. What it basically does. So the gimbal, like, it's very, very simple. It's very obvious what it does. It just means that when you are moving away and within a certain ring around this, this is the ring. Now, we know David Coulson, again, they said after the fact that this ring will actually be smaller, which, by the way, is worse. That actually is a worse feature, and I'll explain why. When this ring is really big like this, and the kind of like the aim kind of moves away, it will help, obviously not great pilots, to be able to at least hit a target. But when the aim is smaller, what that does is actually will end up helping better pilots not miss, not crap pilots hit. It will help better pilots hit better. That's the way I look at it. So actually you want to make this ring actually quite big and very kind of faded, and so it doesn't really it's not very accurate, but it enables like people to be able to hit, and they can kind of maybe do what they need to do. But by making that ring really small, the person who's got a really good aim is going to be able to get in on their aim, and they're not going to miss ever, because they're literally helping them. It's a bad idea making it smaller.
People didn't seem to mention it, but that's what I thought in terms of, because like I've seen you dogfight, and when you were doing with Rithius, and he kept saying, I can't seem to get away from your nose, because basically you were pointing at him constantly, no matter how he turned. You were so if you had that auto aim, even on a small circle, and you could constantly, if you're a good pilot and you can constantly face that target, that means even if you're up and down and not quite on the target, you're going to hit a hell of a lot more than you used to, a hell of a lot more.
Yeah,
so
and
it's like, brilliant.
People, and here's the other thing. So that's something, and I agree that it's a very valid thing. People say, well, you'll have to go down a gun size. Okay, so let's just say I go down from a size 2. So I got a size 3 gimbal, and I go to a size 2. I stick mass drivers on that. There are other very powerful guns that you could potentially stick on here. So I stick 4 of these things onto my Sabre, 4 gimbals, auto aims onto my Sabre, and I put 4 mass driver guns onto there. At the moment, I don't know, but there are size 2 guns, like dominances and size 2 guns and stuff like that, which are really dangerous, okay? They will have to make sure that they work on their balancing alongside this pretty well, which is a lot of work very early, which isn't great, but it's a lot of work. And then here's my other thing on this one. Everyone talks about, you have to go down a size. I'm like, well, okay, then what happens if I start building 600s with these gimbal mounts, or ships that are big, fairly big, medium-sized ships that are pretty agile, like a Cutlass is pretty agile. I start sticking, and maybe, or I'm not, I mean, a Cutlass is a bad example. Something that's got kind of size 4s on there, and then I'm going down to a size 3. Sure, it's not a size 4 gun, but I'm not missing as much. And it's still a size 3 that I'm hitting you with, which is pretty powerful. And if you can, my worry is that you will have this is where the not exploiting, but you'll have the situation where people will be able to build gunboats with this potential feature to decimate fighters. because no matter what, you've got to just get me roughly within this, and you won't miss. It's not like before. Like no matter how much I kind of maybe rock and weave, I might be able to dodge it and move it, but you've got something that's literally assisting you to help you. So again, we need to see how it works with the flight model. We need to see how it is. I just have concerns. That's all it is. It's just concerns.
I don't think so much it's going. So I feel like it's a little bit where they're making it so that it was mentioned before, like making it maybe a bit more accessible for pilots that aren't so good, giving them just a little bit of a helping hand to bring them slightly closer to better pilots. So I think you saying you're dodging out of the way and stuff, I don't actually think that's the issue. I think you probably will still be able to avoid the hits. I think you can turn and skillfully move. I think that the issue would actually be is skilled pilots getting their hands on it, and it being an advantage for skilled pilots, because like I said, if you can keep your nose keep that target in that rough circle, you're going to hit a lot more than you would do before when you had to be so pinpoint accurate. Yeah. Now the down, obviously it has flip sides, and we are talking about, we haven't got our hands on it. I know chat said it, we haven't got our hands on it.
No,
and
we're not aware of that.
That's because they've not given it to us, so we can only go with the information they've given us. And I do think the flip side is that the guns are going to be less powerful. Okay, that's not such a big deal, but they did it. Might be more important is how quick the target auto aims. So if it's slow at getting onto the target, that will give it a lot of a disadvantage. You also get the disadvantage where you won't be able to pick where you shoot, because the problem is, like before we fixed, you'll be able to say, right, I'm shooting at the cockpit. This will auto aim probably to the center of mass, so it'll probably just try and go to the middle of the ship. And so you're not going to get like cockpit shots and things like that.
But this comes back to where they do the little drip feeds of information. Now I'm pretty sure, and again, don't quote me 100%. I will dig into this, but I believe they have mentioned in conversations about component aiming. So component part aiming. So being able to, I don't know if it's on some things where they would, you potentially lock onto something. Yeah, so it's like, on RTV they were talking about, if your thruster takes damage, or and they've talked about this type of thing. So, who's to say that you can't potentially pre-lock on, I just want to lock onto the thrusters on this thing, for example, and I want to lock onto the thrusters, and then all I need to do is then aim this turret roughly around about where that lock is, and it'll help me, and I won't miss so much. And again, this is what I'm saying here right now is the fear factor from many people is that not that you're gonna hit them. Like, I'm not too fearful of this as a reasonably good pilot. The dying and being shot by people who are that doesn't really bother me. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be able to dodge most things still. I'm gonna have powerful guns. I'm gonna be able to kill you. That doesn't really do it. What it concerns me is it's a mindset change and a philosophy change from CIG, from a predominantly skill-based game. The minute you start adding in you start adding in aim assist, you start aiming component aim assist, you start adding these kind of like easy bits and easy play bits to the game, I start getting worried about that, because I'm like, well then you got to make it a level playing field. Like, I fucking hate mining, okay, and it's risky and stressful. You need to make mining so that I have an auto aim easy button that I can have on mining, and then you'd say, and I want to have a cargo easy sell button option. Like, maybe I make less money, but I can press a button and it makes it easy mining, easy cargo, easy. It's this whole. You can't then, and all the people who say, well, I can't do combat, and so this helps me. I'm like, well, I don't really like the other game mechanic that you really enjoy, so I want the easy option too. And then you get into this world of, then the game starts to get more and more watered down, and like, what's good, what's an acceptable easy in one area? It's not really fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. Like, why can you? I get really upset about it, because I'm like, why do you get preference because you can't dogfight, and I can't get in mining, or I can't get that same thing in something else, and that pisses me off, and that's where I get more frustrated with this than the way it works, if that makes sense. I hope so. What do you think?
It's just... No, I totally agree. It's unknown, which is this is a difficult part. Like we said, they've given us the information without really... this was like a tiny little segment in ATV. Like, you've seen how long we're talking about it. I've seen other podcasts talk about it. Like, this is something that could have literally filled a fucking whole ATV, discussing how it works, their plans for it in the future, how they're going to balance it. Like, we said, we got nothing. We just got, oh, look, this is going to auto aim. And they didn't even tell us about the smaller circle until afterwards in a tweet, I think. And it was like, oh, sorry, we meant that's going to be smaller. Like like you said again about the delivery. So obviously what we're saying is all speculation, but that's all we can do, and that's what we do half this podcast anyway. But the other kind of flip side to it is what people don't, and I said it on the captain's table, is people don't seem to realize is we're going to have auto aim anyway, because you're going to be able to hire NPCs. And when you hire an NPC, who do you think's shooting that turret? They're going to be shooting it, and they're going to be using auto aim. And so technically it's auto aim disguised in an NPC form, basically. So we're going to be getting some form of, and this may well be a mechanic that they're making so that they can then implement it and stick it onto NPCs, so that when you hire an NPC turret gunner, that's how it will work. If he manages to get his turret aiming in roughly that circle, it will hit. And then the other thing they said is obviously you'll be able to get more skilled turret gunners and less skilled ones, so maybe that circle will increase, decrease, depending on how good your AI is. And so I think, we were kind of going to get this anyway. And realistically, until we see it happen, and until we see you fighting against people that have got it, and the disadvantages and advantages, we don't really know. I mean, people could be flying off the handle, and realistically, the advantage is that slight that it's not going to affect you. If you're good at PvP, if you're good at avoiding being shot, you're still going to be good at avoiding shot, and they're still going to be shit. So it's a kind of wait and see, but it's something that's going to be in the game, 100% guaranteed, and it's something, like I said, you got it as an NPC anyway. Yeah. So don't think that it's a whole new thing. Not saying you, but that, like you said, the internet went mad, but this isn't a new thing. This is what we all would have had. Yeah.
And a part of me kind of goes, well, again, like you're talking, I think you're right. I think if they had gone more into it and actually thought a bit more about this, they could have made this a much more in-depth show. You could have then had an RTV with Disco discussing it with the guys afterwards with a Q&A. They could have maybe they just didn't. This is where sometimes I go, maybe they are a little bit disconnected from the community a bit too much sometimes, because it's like in my head, it's kind of, that's quite a big deal to most people, especially combat people and people who are interested in that kind of mechanic, and people who want to know how to be able to, people who aren't interested in combat but want to defend themselves and be able to protect themselves. It's a big deal. So they could have, like the old ATVs, they could have done a big thing. They could have done a bit of a spiel about it and done a little talky thing, and they could have done an RTV about it. They could have done nice talking about how the gimbals, how they're like exactly what you just said. I completely agree. They could have really dialed it in. I mean, Flymo says it exactly. Like my questions would be, we already have the ability to target Alt-T. You can use advanced flight controls. You can cycle through sub-targeting systems, which clearly shows that they're already potentially in the process of implementing the ability to target components within ships and stuff. So, it's coming for sure. This like an Elite Dangerous style kind of component targeting stuff and locking. And here's like you said, like the NPCs aspect of it. Who used to say like the bottom end tier NPC that you hire has the big circle. It's not very good. Can't really hit very often. And then as you then go to the second tier, the circle gets a bit smaller. He's a bit better. And then by the time you get to the elite, more expensive NPC that you hire, his circle's really small and all of his dialed up. And he's the one that's able to hit you and be able to really, really good. And then in my head, like, I wouldn't want humans to have the big one maybe, or the small one. Maybe it's the middle one, maybe that's the one that's better for humans, where it's somewhere in the middle between the two. It enables you to get the progression, helps you out to start with, and then you can dial in as because I want to switch it off. I definitely don't want that shit on. It will be off permanently for me. So yeah, it was, I could have handled it so much better and saved themselves a huge amount of stuff, because we have so much. Yeah, it's like it's just before we got the flight model as well, they dropped that, and I was just like, oh. I was literally like, and it's like they drop ArcCorp in like kind of a semi kind of like, and people are just going, what the hell? You've shown us RTV like 2 years ago. We were supposed to be seeing a finished city and all the rest of it. And like you're back to the drawing board in polygons. Yeah, you're gone backwards. Yes, okay, we understand it's for performance reasons, but you've gone way backwards, it feels. And you've literally gone nowhere. And then,
well, I mean that was supposed to be showing off development, and like realistically, that section of ATV didn't show development, did it? It showed backwards, and then it showed some ships flying in a straight line, and then it showed repurposed assets that they used from another customs
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
And they showed us a grey box. It was like you literally didn't show us anything bad stuff. It's like,
Maybe that was a reaction again to us complaining about ATVs being too short, so they just chucked something at us because it was like, oh, we need to pad out the ATVs, and I'm just like, they don't get it. You're not getting it, guys. You don't need to do that. You could have just done your gimbals thing if you'd wanted to, and then just done a deep dive with that and talking about them, and then that would have probably been really cool. You could have had loads of questions and they don't get it sometimes. Like, we just want to have really good information and like talk about like the mechanics and things. People really want to know how things work in StarCitizen. That's what people want to pay their subs for. I think they really want to get involved. It's so much more personal like that. That's the reason why people pay so much money for the spaceships, because it feels like super special to them. They know that. Well, I don't understand why they don't get that with ATV. I just don't get it. But that was the gimbal thing, and that was kind of controversial, and that kind of lit up Discord for the thing, and that was ATV. Really, it was pretty small, but it was a shame. Yeah, it was kind of a shame. It was like I don't want to kind of grumble. Like the Reliant. It was like, okay, I'm past that point in the game anyway. I've already had bigger ships than that, so it's not something that's really interesting to me. There's no gameplay mechanics in there that I really want to do. I've never liked the ship personally. So I'm like, I initially liked it, but they haven't done anything to really sell me on why I should buy one. Do you know what I mean? I'm not like going, I really need to buy this ship. I'm looking at it going,
because it goes.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't see how that's still going to work in atmosphere yet. I'm like, unless it can fly on its side, which I think they said it can now. So
it will. It will be.
Yeah. So it hasn't sold it. I mean, it's better. It's better, but it's like the ATV. It's like, well, how much really better is it? Was it really better, or is it just it's a little bit new? It's like, yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like it's like a really annoying girlfriend that gets a boob job. It's like that kind of thing. It's like, it's still annoying as hell, but slightly better. Just like, if that's what you like, it's kind of slightly better to look at, but it's still really annoying. Then we have, so that was the turrets, and that was it. It was, I don't want to whinge about it, but it was.
Don't want to whinge about it, but
I didn't want to. I don't even whinge about it. It was like I liked I liked the Art Corp. It's just that I was surprised that they were so far behind after 2 years. That was the thing for me. It was like,
I think that's
this is dope. This is cool, but this is
it's great. It's just it's almost like oh shit, I expected to see more finished. I think that was the thing. It's like, they're supposed to be out in a few weeks, and it may well be. Like I said, it may well have just been a demo build. They're not, because if obviously when he's making something in engine, he doesn't want all the textures and everything slowing the whole thing down. You need to work on it in a certain build. So it may well have just been that, but there you go. It is what it is. We've gone over that.
Oh yeah, we've gone over it. We're done. We're moving on as always because we want to try and stay positive. I don't want to go over too much like negative. But
we love you, StarCitizen.
We do. We love you. But I have a few cool things from Reddit. Like we kind of which have been fun, and we have a couple of leaks which would be kind of dope to go over. If we've got a little bit of time, we'll kind of whip through it as quickly as we can. There is a few little salty moments. Sorry. There's a few little... Yeah, no, you can't say anything, so we haven't done too much on the leak stuff, but I can talk about a few things. But I'm going to try and sandwich the slightly negative between a few kind of cool things. But here's, like, the first positive thing is I've noticed a lot of people...
Technical term is the shit sound.
It's the shit sandwich. Yeah.
Basically, you get the positive bit, the shit bit in the middle, and then the positive bit at the end. It's all good.
We've spoken on the podcast before many times about tablets being more interfaced and apps and stuff that can interface with the game. I have been seeing more and more people posting these wonderful images where they've been using their tablets and these amazing, I think it's like glass and all sorts of things. And now, I only briefly touched on this because I'm just like, this is awesome. Like, I really need to figure out, I want to do the same type of thing. I mean, there are many times where there's certain buttons that I want to be able to press really easy and clearly with a visual rather than having to always remember the short key or where the key is or whatever. It's nice to be able to have a visual and the pictures and the words really nice and big like that.
Is from ship.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you guys can. Don't know if you guys can see it. Let me kind of zoom in a bit. But basically, the guy's got like, these amazing like tablets and stuff. And we spoke about this. We spoke about this for years on the podcast, actually, about how great it would be to integrate. And it just seems to be that it's finally coming, which is great. Super positive. I've seen a couple of them around. I don't know if anyone in chat is using one. Please tell me if you found it useful, or if it's just a gimmick. I think
well, for a long time there was Rocat Power Grid, and that was been about. I think I used that a few years back, and I did use it a little, and I think it definitely has a place and a purpose. I used it not much because I think at the time the game was pretty buggy, and there was also, I don't think adjustments in-game actually made much difference, so you could press and adjust your shields, but it wouldn't actually change your shields that much. Now that we're getting more component interaction, I think that's more useful for definite.
Yeah, like, this is
especially when you look at, when you have to hold down F and look around your cockpit and cycle through stuff, which takes you forever. This sort of shit is so much nicer because you just don't. Instead of actually looking down in game, you just look there and press a button, and it's working. So,
yeah, caution, touchscreen to respawn. That's like Alt F4, ejection, caution, self-destruct, caution, eject, exterior lights, auto land, target mode, ESP, decoupled weapons. Like, I mean, this is amazing. Like, so. I think this is honestly, legitimately fantastic. Like nearest targets, all this. I mean, some of these things I won't use. I would, if you can customize. There's a few things that I would like to use, like ICF toggle. A lot of the things I'll put on my joystick on my mouse. But there are other little things like auto land and things that I'm constantly having to press the end. Like I'm constantly having to press the button. And taking pictures, for example. I'd like to be able to go into like picture mode and take all the different kind of view moves for the picture. That's amazing. Like the camera angles and stuff, screenshotting, like changing out your awesome. Yeah, it's a Stream Deck for poor. Yeah, exactly. It is, Matt. It is. But I think it's great, and more power. Again, this kind of gets me around to kind of like, this is where the shit sandwich kind of comes into a little bit. It kind of, again, it's this whole kind of like, why are other people doing this? Like, surely a Turbulent, and these people should be doing this type of stuff and doing a damn good job of this stuff, or incorporating this into their new system. And this is my big question. This is like my question to the channel, like, and to people is Turbulent underperforming? This is kind of my big. Turbulent seems to be super slow in delivering improvements to the website. I don't know about other people, but I mean, 2 years and we still haven't. The matrix hasn't been updated. They promised us an update to their webpage. I don't care what anyone says. What they did is not really that much of an update. It is like polishing the turd.
They were supposed to change all the actual ship matrix and all the ships and everything, and I don't think it's actually changed since that day that they dropped the patches. Yeah. Has it changed much?
Like, we're owed seriously a proper, like, the pictures of the ships. You got all Cutlass pictures on ships shoes. That's a slip of what I do all the time. They've got the pictures aren't updated. Like, seriously, like, how hard can it be? Like, honestly, Turbulent, they were told that Turbulent is meant to be these amazing guys. Now, I'm not saying they don't work hard. I know they do. I know they've up, Spectrum. It must be hard work deleting all those terrible posts on Spectrum, constantly being posted, and moderating them is very hard work.
We're too busy moderating the shit that happens on Spectrum every week.
Exactly.
There's only one poor guy going,
I know.
One hand's working on a drawing, the other hand's like deleting posts.
Exactly. But Jester clearly hasn't arrived. I do apologise for anyone expecting Jester to arrive, but he clearly has let the side down. I'll have to give him a strangle later. I had 2 people set up, Jester. We could have had 2 people. He's going to get Muller later. This is where I find out like something terrible happened, and I feel terrible. It's usually. I hope not. I hope nothing terrible's happened. I'm sure he's just he's just unable to make it. So yeah, I honestly, what do you guys think? Do you guys think in chat? Do you think like, and also this is for YouTube as well. Please feel free, if you've got this far into the podcast, please feel free to tell us what do you. Yeah, congratulations and thank you for sticking with us. What do you think? Do you think that we're getting our money's worth? Because at the end of the day, we're paying for this ultimately between all of us. Do we feel? Begs the question: what are they developing? What is our back of money being spent on? the whole ship
The
shop.
problem is,
a
like you
mess.
said, it's open development without the open development at times, and we don't know. I mean, they could be working on some massive, amazing improvements that we just haven't heard of or seen of or got any information on. We just don't know. But at the moment, from the outside, and that's sort of, it looks like we haven't.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. There are a couple of things, Fenrir. Like you could be like, maybe they've parted way with Turbulent. Maybe, if they have, we would like to know if they have, and who they maybe are. They bringing them all in house? Have they? What's the other thing?
Maybe they may bring it in house. Who knows?
No, it's like, have they? By the way, for anyone that's Mrs. just said "holy shit" to me in chat. Holy shit, we've got some big donations. Thank you, by the way, people who've donated. I haven't got the links for the people who donated. Thank you so much. Like I said,
so it's like
we haven't got the alerts, but because then the audio
on my screen to see who it was,
but whoever's donating, like, if you guys like. Massive love from myself and Miz and the team at the Asylum. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being able to support what we do so we can keep doing it and try and, make things better. Like I said, everything we get goes on trying to make better content. So I'll be doing shout outs to people who've donated and stuff on Twitter and stuff, just to say thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. It means a lot. Big love. I'm hoping this works just for everyone. And to be fair, this goes for just people coming and just hanging out with us. Seriously, again, I don't want to talk about it too much, but thank you for everyone that comes and just hangs and chats and engages. But I love watching that chat bar just go on the podcast, because that's what it's about.
I mean, that's one of the things we like with the podcast. We do like to try and engage with you as well, because it's like a show about the news, but we'd rather hear your opinions, because it's like a community thing. So it's actually nice to have a podcast where we can have what you think as well at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. We're not just through questions, like we pick up on people's comments and things, but it's like we don't always get tons. We have a chat, we have a questions bar open, but I like the fact picking up on what you guys live chat and stuff, which is great. So anyway, so Turbulent thing. Yeah, we talked about the webpage before. I just feel like we were promised something similar to, disappeared. Maybe they have brought them in house, similar to with the camera, which we spoke about last week as well. Like, what the hell has happened to the camera? Where's that? That was like promised in early 2018. We're in early 2019. What the hell?
Someone said it was early 2017 or 2018?
I think it was 2018. It was like going to be early, actually. Like the new camera for VoIP, was going to be out, and you could pre-order it early for 2018. And now it's like 2019. It's like where is it? And even like if it's not happening, you kind of need to tell people, and you need to explain what's gone wrong.
I think we've also had that thing where the CIG joystick and HOTAS thing was being made, and then it just went silent for ages, and then it was like, we're not doing it anymore. I think people get a little bit worried about that. It's like, oh, what's going on? We haven't heard anything. Does it still exist? Is it not going to happen? Luckily, I think Faceware, I can't remember if that's what they're called, but they're doing. I've seen a few tweets recently from them actually, and they've been doing some other events and working with other games as well. So they're not, as far as I can tell, bankrupt or anything. So it should hopefully come in, and we will be getting it. But it's just odd that it goes completely quiet. Even if because when you have games and they get delayed, you at least kind of get a message saying, look, guys, I know we were supposed to be doing it this now. We've had delays and things like that, but we are still working like we're still alive. I mean, the other thing maybe they did have a sign up thing. So if you signed up, you could try it. So we don't know. Potentially they've sent some out as samples to people, and they're not allowed to talk, because Elgato do the same with the Stream Deck and their light system and that they had. A lot of people try them, and then it's not until the day of release they're not actually allowed to say they're using them. So it's possible that it's been out.
It's true. It can be tested. I mean, but then it's like, I don't buy. The brand, the company itself is a separate company. Faceware is it self Faceware, or it's Faceware, right?
I think so. Yeah.
They're a separate company. I'm sure. I don't know. Silence is the worst thing sometimes, especially when you it's silence when you know
no
something's
news is bad news.
Yeah, it's like when something's supposed to be coming, and you're a year after it. It's like That's kind of like, honestly, seriously, if I had ordered a kitchen, or if I was promised like that potentially a kitchen, and I had pre-booked a kitchen to be delivered on 2018, and I was sat here in 2019 waiting for my kitchen to arrive, I'd be like, one, an idiot, and two, like ridiculously annoyed. Like, that's like, ordering.
Fenrir is right. I mean, what the hell are we expecting? It's open development. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, madness. What am I thinking? Open development on the voice.
Come on. So unrealistic.
Oh no, I'm sorry. What am I thinking? It's like the get out clause. So anyway, so that's Turbulent. Like, I'm sure that will probably be on Answer the Call on Twerk's channel at some point. Will be is Turbulent underperforming? That'll be his next thing. Twerk, if you're here listening, buddy, that could be the next one for next week. I think that's a good one for you, buddy. We have
okay. Swear the same stuff that does like for like what's up the cinematics for like video games.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, maybe they're busy doing that.
Yeah, so that's what I've been seeing them tweet out, that they've been doing stuff like that. Yeah, and there was they went to a big show or something showing you it's like advertising how you can, instead of having to animate all your models by hand, you can now use this faceware tech, which is going to allow you to just skip like a step and stuff. So yeah, they're definitely working and still doing something.
I have an animation now for you, just so you can pretend to talk, and it will kind of appear as if you're talking. It's not like I didn't do like properly set up, but it's pretend. So it's like a little pretend thing. Woohoo! It's gonna be so off. It's gonna be brilliant, but never mind. Right. So actually, whilst I've got you here, Justin, it's great. What did you think about the auto? What's your views on? Very quick. We're just going to go quickly back over because we've got you here, and I'm glad you've joined us. Been able to join us for the last little bit. So, what was your thought on the auto gimbal thing?
Ooh. No, I'm not a fan. I am absolutely not a fan. It's like we're playing arcade games now, and it takes away a lot of skill. Granted, there's still be skill. You got to keep them in that circle, and the closer you got them in that middle point, whatever. But I'm not a. For turrets, I'd have to agree with your tweet that you put out a few days ago. I think that'd be great, but from the dogfighting perspective, I think that's kind of garbage.
By the way, guys, let me know if Jester's how the audio levels for Jester are, because he's just joined in, so we have no idea on his audio levels. If he's super loud, super
muted. You've got me muted for life.
We both just sitting there like looking like we're listening to something in the chat's going, what are they?
Thank you. Perfect. Perfect.
Are they playing chess? What's going on?
Good. Are you Evocati, Jester?
I am, and I got an Evocati secret for you.
Shit, you can't say nothing.
You're
live on a podcast. You can't reveal nothing.
I will reveal something. Evocati starts with an E.
Oh my god.
All right, next.
Here's the thing. This is like, I know that I'm surrounded by legitimately good Evocati people because I have tried to tap all of them. Every single one of these people that I normally know, like my old resources for Evocati have all vanished into the oblivion because they've got so bored of StarCitizen that they've left, so they no longer play the game. So I have and so all the new people I've met are all goody two shoes who will never divulge anything, and it drives me crazy because I'm just like, I sent Jolly a message. I was like, Jolly, so the flight, I'm trying to do it like in casual conversation, like trying to make it really casual, and he just writes NDA, motherfucker, in response. And I was like, Casio.
What flight model?
I was like, so but you guys can't talk, so tough shit, you're gonna have to be quiet. But I am going to talk about this because I'm going to talk about the leak. So, haha! So if anyone, by the way, if you don't want to watch this, turn off your screen now. But this is a leak from the decoupled mode from 3.5.
It was on RTV anyway.
So I'm going to turn the audio off because the guy who was doing this video, by the way, the guy who was putting these videos forward, he needs to figure out his audio levels because he had the game volume up so loud you couldn't hear any of his comments about what needs to fix or anything. I could barely hear it.
Can I just, before we show it completely, can I just say that this is 100%? I know you all see me fly, and I know you know how good I am. But this is not me flying, okay? I know it looks like me flying, but it's Okay, so this is not my video.
Okay, so everyone knows, like, I have had serious concerns for the flight model. Okay, serious concerns. Now we're going to go to RTV as well, so I'm just going to show a little bit of what we've seen in the this is decoupled mode. I am so excited that they have fixed so many bugs in decoupled, and they have now decoupled back to where I used to fly decoupled. That was literally my fly mode go-to in the PU. I love decoupled mode. It was awesome. So when I see this, I am just super excited. The decoupled mode is clearly looking back to where it used to be. Very, very, very happy. Very, very happy with this. The only thing I would say is it does feel slow. That's my only... but this is definitely the flight mode for me in PU. The coupled mode, I think, is going to be a little bit too restricted on the movement still. But yeah, I was super impressed with this video that I saw. It got me very excited because I was like, that just looks great. Looks really great. And I know you can't say shit, which is fantastic. You can't argue with me because you would be breaking NDA. So
imagine if that was a drone cam from the Reliant.
Yeah, well, to be fair, if we were talking about the drone camera, like seriously, a drone camera, again, yeah, they need to do that. They need to make that happen, 100%. But no,
make that happen.
For me, the biggest concern I had with which you all know, with the flight model was the inability for movement and all that sort of stuff. And by fixing decouple the way they have and fix all the bugs and stuff, it gives me what appears to be the flight model that I truly love. And also when you see, like, he's doing the combat thing here, and he's obviously got lag pipping, which is fantastic. I think they're going to continue to improve the ESP and stuff. But when I saw this, I was like, it looks like I can get repeaters on target again now, because everything's been slowed down a little bit. I'm not too keen about that, but at the end of the day, we'll see how it plays out myself. I can't 100% know until I play it myself. And this is an AI that we're fighting here, not real people. So, but what I saw from this leak was so good. So good. So it's definitely got, like, David Colson, like, you've got thumbs up from me and the team that did this. I'm so much more happy, in a happy place from what I saw this leak here. So yeah, very, very cool.
So you actually see his name posted on the top right after.
Yeah, he posts. But he didn't. But again, this is hacked. He's not knowingly. This is going into the Evocati. I think there was a video. I've got a video on the sheet here.
Was he doing it on the closed server thing, is it?
Yeah, he puts it. I think if I go to the end, I don't know if I go to the end. Is it this one? There's one where the guy. This is a different guy. You see his name here. This is Mal Curry. Like, it's not. He's posting these videos up and they're being hacked off. Someone's taking the videos off of the thing. He's not. No way is this guy dumb enough to put up videos. You can see he's clearly putting bugs in. I think this one, he talks in the audio about. I mean, I can't put the audio up because he's done such a bad job of turning down his game engine sounds, which are so loud, super loud.
Okay, so all you piss poor Evocati out there, quit posting your videos for people to post.
Yeah, they
just don't record it.
Oh, no,
they keep getting hacked.
It's terrible.
They keep getting hacked off of the system.
Grizzled asked a question, which was saying, I wonder if the new flight model would be more in favour of rotating thrusters than fixed thrusters. Well, the answer is yes, because they've already discussed that. So in space, at least, so like things like the Scout and stuff, they have rotating thrusters, so they should be better. But Madness can probably tell you better because he knows more about flying them.
No. You're good. I think they talked about rotational thrusters and velocity, and the fact that they've turned everything down a little bit is the best way I could describe it. So everything's been turned down. So
basically, your maneuver thrusters are the ones that are weaker, right?
Yeah. So they've just dialed it down a little bit, so you can't quite necessarily move in the way you used to. But then I think they've added like a get out clause with decoupled a little bit, and also in RTV, David Coulson talks about there's now a button which I think is fantastic where I'm going to be able to keybind a button now to my mouse to my joystick, sorry, or whatever I'm using at the time, that will be able to temporarily put decoupled on, and then when I lift off, decoupled will come off again. That is fantastic. fantastic, because that means that potentially I'm fascinated to see where I can push now the airplane, the spaceship, to the limits, because I'll be able to throw that decoupled in, pull off potentially the maneuvers that I used to be able to do, and then switch that sucker off again, get back the control, bang on target. I'm honestly, everything that he talked about on RTV got me really excited based on what I saw here. The leaks got me excited, and then I heard him talking on RTV, and I went backwards and forwards between the two, between David and the RTV and this, and I was just like, awesome, fantastic, love you, amazing, yes, we will have a love child, it's amazing. I was genuinely just like really, really hopeful, and I haven't heard too many negative things so far. Like, no one's come screaming to me. Like, normally I get people like coming like, it's terrible, because they want me to kind of like go shout it out on whatever mediums and kind of stuff. But no one said that to me so far, so that's positive, very positive. But anyway, what the only little thing I did notice, which is the pass out. This is amazing. So this guy basically, he ramps the speed up, and this I think shows you the G-forces that potentially are going to be involved at the moment. So he like up to 400, 500, 600, 700, and he's gone. That was like, ooh, damn. Okay, that's scary. And then there was another one with these guys flying around, but that's a meaningless video. I watched that and I was like, that's garbage. But yeah, that was some of the leaks I saw. But like I said, I honestly very excited about it. Yeah, they do need to bring back the juice, guys. I was kind of like going to click this video. This is going to be the new StarCitizen. Here comes the juice. And then he inject the juice, and then we'll put in the video, and you don't go anywhere. But I failed on my cutscenes. I don't know how to edit videos, unfortunately, so it took me. I couldn't do it. Sorry, guys. But what I have noticed, and if you're not still happy about the flight model, there is another game, and this
already filing in game here.
Has anyone seen? Now, this is people have been asking me, and I've been watching this. Now, this is Infinity Battlescape beta, and they just literally, like the other day on the 2nd of March. If no one's seen this, if you don't follow the project, they showed their gameplay trailer. This was really interesting. It is a little bit. I don't think they've got the same kind of like getting out of your spaceship like StarCitizen, but they have. They just showed the gameplay trailer. And this is kind of this is their kind of like their hard and spaceship. I'm very impressed. It's obviously a much, much smaller studio, nowhere near the budget, obviously, of StarCitizen and stuff. But they have 6 degrees of movement in their flight model as well. They have all the thrusters and everything on it. I've been watching a couple of their videos. I'm going to probably do a little bit more on them, I think, a little bit later once I know a bit more about the studio. But they have, if you've never checked it out, I definitely recommend going check out on video. I'm trying to skip on to see if there's anything I can show you. They've obviously got their. This is it's really much. You can see the graphics, the fidelity is like nowhere near StarCitizen, but it was fascinating. What I find interesting is how they approached some of the UI interface information and stuff. There's a strut right across the middle. What is this madness exactly? And it's just fascinating to see how they've approached. Like, targeting things, like jumping to systems. I will drop the link in chat in a second to it, but definitely go check it out. I'm trying to see if unfortunately, I literally grabbed this only a few minutes before we came on air, so I haven't gone into too much detail, but it's a really interesting video to watch because it's another game. It's a game. It has that kind of retro TIE fighter kind of styling about it, which I kind of like. So anyway, sorry. Check that out. I will link that.
You stole the cockpit from the Valkyrie.
Yeah,
so,
I think so.
Is it higher?
Go check it out. That's a link in chat for anyone. Go check that out if you want to. Well worth checking out. It's a small studio. They make a really cool game. I always support the smaller studios. So, really interesting. Emergent gameplay around Jump Time. Someone was asking questions for Widow Runners, which I thought was interesting. So, would you be willing to pay a small fee, something like 500 to 1,000 AUEC every run for a full crewed hammerhead, or a similar large gunship? Question 2, would you pay a stealth scout ship to check if JT was safe? So they're kind of like obviously looking for like gameplay mechanics. I'm like, well, firstly, we need to make it so that we need to improve the ability to give players money. Because at the moment, it's not good enough. I don't know about you guys, but like I can't give Jester money and stuff. So I like the idea of these things. Well, yeah, that too. But you know, I mean, would you be willing to pay a small fee for a fully crewed hammerhead and such to keep JT safe for you to be able to do stuff?
As an org leader, I don't have a choice. I have to pay that.
JT's always safe. Yeah, exactly. Would you pay a scout ship to check to see if JT is safe for you? Well, I wouldn't necessarily, because I can pretty much do it myself. You know, but and to be fair, at the moment, I'm guessing this is more when the game's finished, because right now there's not really punishment for if my ship blows up. I just go spawn another one, no big deal, and then I know that it's dangerous. So it's kind of interesting, but
I suppose it's just it's people trying to make a bit of content.
Yeah.
For the game.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Aaron Roberts, by the way. It was his birthday, I think, the other day. So happy birthday to you, Mr. Aaron Roberts.
A big cake with backers' money. Big fuck off.
Yeah, a really, really, really a big bake-off cake scenario. That would be pretty cool. This was really cool. I don't know if anyone knew, but CIG, there was a gentleman in CIG took a load of people on a tour of Loreville. I don't know if anyone saw this. So it's obviously a CIG developer by the name of Cracklin. Took people in the game and took them all around the Loreville, explaining things and talking to them all about the game and stuff. And I have pictures here of what they did, which I was like, how cool was that? I normally accidentally kill CIG developers, so it was really nice to see
accidentally
them being able to take people for a tour, which was nice. And obviously I think you can tell the CIG guys because they're all wearing the flares on their helmets and stuff, so they're showing off all the flares. But yeah, in chat, he just took them on a tour and they did fun things together, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, they blew up the ship. But I was like, well, that would be. I hope they do more of that when the game is live. We'll get more interaction with actual real people playing the game and stuff. You know, from CIG, that'd be fantastic. That would be absolutely. Yeah, I would totally pay
500 to 1,000 UEs.
Yeah,
tour.
Exactly.
Take me around, tell me this shit.
That would be awesome. And then the roadmap. So kind of the bad news, it seems to be, I'm super excited about the Banu Defender, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. It's really looking well behind schedule. I have real concerns for the Banu Defender to get into 3.5. I really do. And let me just see if I can find the Banu. So the Tachyon cannon is 6 of 25 tasks. It's only got 8% done.
I think Banu's 52, wasn't it?
I'm looking at the Banu Defender on the roadmap here. It says 13 of 31 tasks complete. We have, 27 days till the end of the month? They're well in their time frame there.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. If you watch their roadmap the entire year, then you won't even see it till about 0.75% done sometime around first or second wave PTU.
Okay, well, that's good to know, because I was like, genuinely, Jester, I was worried, because I'm like, I don't want another ship, because I don't want another CCU in my ship fleet, which is just sitting there. I like to have all my ships that are fly ready and good to go. I'm not one of those people that sits on ships that I can't fly. I like everything to be flyable.
What are you trying to say there, Madness?
Nothing, dude. I know you're running org, so you have to have loads of ships for people, right? Not judging. I'm not judging. Everyone does it their way. Your contribution to CIG is greatly appreciated by me, but I for one like to fly everything that's ready. So I was worried, but you filled me with confidence, and that's fantastic. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. ArcCorp. So you think if you looked at the 3.5 flight roadmap, is there anything, Jester, that you would be scared that wouldn't make it?
The 3.5 roadmap?
Yeah. At the moment, is there anything that stands out to you and you go, do you know what? I don't think they'll make it, or you think you'll all make it?
Probably the AI bounty hunting, and I'm not really scared about it, but I don't think they're going to make that in because they haven't even really done anything. I guess we'll know more. Other than that, it looks pretty clean. Yeah, I have no doubt that everything here is going to make, just by looking at their task complete and comparing it to their previous timelines and when first and second wave PTU got the PTU build. I think it's on track, because you're not going to really see any of this really progress until the testers have put their hands on it. That's just typical roadmap.
So you think so? Because this is an education for me. Because this is kind of like. So would you say when something says like 20 of 29 tasks, that 20 potentially means that the shit for an airplane. I keep saying fucking airplane. Some break my brain. For a spaceship, 20 tasks technically means it's kind of ready. They just need to Q&A it. Is that what you think? Q&A is included in the task here?
No, but if I'm looking over here at DNA face customization in 3.5, it's 80 of 120 tasks complete.
Yeah.
But it will probably, and I would wait until probably first wave PTU, and that's when you're going to see those really get their boost, because that's when the testers and all these concierge and subscribers got their hands on.
Okay.
And then that's when.
Hold him to that. It's all fine. Nothing's burning up. The sky is falling in.
But I like to think that that's the case. I would love to think that when something is 80 of 120, 110 or whatever, that technically means that it's ready. It just needs to go through all the bugs testing, and they just keep now they finished and they're just bug testing. And it's all the bugs they found that they need to fix. That's cool. Like, I'd be curious to know if. I would be interested to know if that's what that technically means. Like 50, if they say, Q1 2009 says 54%, that's 50, you only need to get another 10%, and that means it's actually finished. The rest is just bug fixing. That's, that would be pretty awesome. But I don't know.
I think they took out the only thing previously that was there already, and that was the Taurus. It's no longer in the 3.5.
Yeah. Cool.
I mean, I think with like the Banner Defender, it's like, isn't it? Like, although it says 30 tasks, that doesn't mean it was like from not being made to 30 tasks. It's like at the moment they got 30 tasks to do.
Correct.
So that there could be 30 tasks, which was just like colouring in the wings or something. I don't know. Maybe not. But
it doesn't the front part, like where the guns come out, lower, so that's your front landing gear as well.
Yeah. Okay, so. I'm going to end. I've got a little bit on the flight model from the RTV, which you guys can talk about, I believe, because obviously it was on RTV, right? You're not under NDA for anything that was shown on RTV, surely. The silence is scary. Like, seriously, like, you can't be. I mean, if it's stuff that like. Let me just go through it, and then you can kind of gauge it.
Comment on the video. That's about as good as we can get.
Wow, that looks really cool, type thing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right.
Don't you like how he flew into the moon there and the darkness? Yeah.
So the first thing was, we'll get that a little bit right out of the way. Clearly, they recognized pretty quickly they kind of fucked up. It was quite funny when DC talks about, you can see the difference between this ship and this ship, and everyone chats like, and Disco's kind of like, we can't really tell the difference between the Gladius and the other ship because the Gladius was in darkness and this ship was actually in the daylight. The Hammer is like, yeah. So they were good enough. They did actually show later on the Gladius in the daylight, so we could kind of see it. So it was, they recognized. Yeah, no, come on. We all make mistakes. God, I've run a podcast. I make tons of mistakes. I can forgive them. But what was interesting is the first question was one of the dumb ones. Literally, I have to say, it's a dumbass question. What is a flight model? It's a dumb question, but I know why it's there. To new people and backers and stuff, you probably have no idea. It has to be this one of those repetition questions that just has to be there. What isn't a flight model? Less dumb. I found this actually quite interesting, the way he described what he's in charge of, what he's not in charge of. Fascinating to know that obviously he hands over the coding, and then the people who are making the ships and doing stuff, they kind of take that and kind of play, and he's in constant communication with them. But ultimately, they can kind of fiddle with it a little bit, it seems, and kind of break it if they wanted to. Not that it would be in their interest, but I thought that was really interesting. He doesn't obviously do weapon. I know there's a lot of stuff that was like, oh, come on, that's common sense, but there was a few bits in there that was pretty good. what was interesting, like you could be G-safed out by a passenger. Now they spoke about this stuff before, and I think we've many times, I think we've tried in the past in all 2.6s and 2.5s and all the other ones, trying to pass out people in the back seats or standing in the back and stuff, like in a Cutlass and other things. I don't know if it was ever possible to do it. If anyone remembers, were you able to ever knock anybody out through G maneuvers that wasn't in a seat? I can't remember.
I don't recall. I don't recall that
so.
being a thing until the 3 series patches.
Yeah, I don't remember, but he basically said no, nothing's changing, which I was like, yeah, cool, that makes sense, really. He said, there's too many things with like animating characters getting thrown around, and like, could you imagine the gameplay experience if it was shaking all over the place? If you were like, it would be like it would literally be like a Star Trek episode with everyone kind of like moving around inside. I think some people would probably be like, oh, that's awesome. People would be like, yeah, that's really cool. I'm like, nah, you'd feel sick all the time in first person view. It would be horrendous most of the time. But he did say future ideas, they may potentially have a scenario when, say, for example, like that cool advert for the Kraken, where the Kraken like smashes into the ship and stuff. There may be a scenario where, you will feel the jolt potentially, and your your animation might get moved around if he's not sat down, which that kind of made sense if it's a substantial thing that happens. That would be cool, like your spaceship being blown up into half or quarters or something, like a hammerhead, when the hammerhead like explodes at the moment. Like, it would be kind of dope if you could, like, it doesn't blow up the way it does now and just you're dead. It would be kind of cool if you could actually be still inside, like ragdolling around, kind of like getting sucked into the space. That would be pretty cool in my head.
Right. Reminds me of the time I crossed the English Channel.
Positional combat. Rotation and velocity, we touched on this, about velocity and rotation are both down, so you should in theory be able to still, if you're a good pilot, be able to outmaneuver somebody maybe who isn't, or if someone's in a bigger ship. As far as I could tell, that's kind of what it seemed like to me, so I was like, okay, that's great, fantastic. I also love the fact that when I say DC, we're talking about Coulson here, what was excellent was the fact that he talked about wanting feedback, and he was like very open to feedback. He was like, the more feedback we get is fantastic. And I loved the comment he said to Disco about something which I'll talk about in a second. Density and atmosphere, awesome, like really, really cool. Realism is fun, but they kind of, they're finding the balance between realism and trying to keep it still as a fun game, which I thought was really good. So obviously the lower down you are, the denser the atmosphere, the less the ships kind of maneuver. Obviously the higher up, the more maneuvering you're going to do. It's going to be really interesting to see which is the best area to fly in, because it changes the dynamics of combat. Because if I'm having to think not just about my vertical speed, like my vertical speed, but I'm also having to think about my altitude in a combat. So if I know that if I drop down too low to within a certain amount of thing, I am now going to be at a disadvantage in a combat scenario. I'm going to be thinking about another thing, and I'm going to have to make sure I bring my ship up and fly around, so I'm going to have better maneuvering. So it's going to be really interesting to see if, like in modern warfares and stuff, or in Star Wars, like when Obi-Wan Kenobi's fighting Anakin Skywalker is a great example. He's like, don't be foolish, I have the high ground, that kind of thing.
Is that modern warfare?
Yes. That's very modern. Science fiction warfare. The high ground. Why do you think castles were built on a high ground? All that kind of stuff.
So, do you think that you're going to do a lot of combat in atmosphere though? In reality, it's a space combat game originally. This is
I think at the moment it depends what CIG does. CIG does in terms of where they put the money. Because at the moment, all the money seems to be in the Widow. The easy money seems to be in the Widow, and obviously in Jumptown. So I do a hefty chunk of combat in Jumptown. I don't like it so much, but I've realized that I need to be fairly proficient in atmosphere flight. And it's certainly, if you're in a scenario where you can understand what the degrees of atmosphere are going to be, you could lose somebody by dropping down into atmosphere. Do you know what I mean? You could give yourself a chance, especially if you're not a good pilot. You could save your ass by bringing a better pilot down into lower atmosphere, because you might not be then necessarily as good. Depending what ships you have, you might have better VTOLs. You might be able to do, in the future, VTOLs is something they spoke about. It's not here yet, but it will be in the future. So it's going to be really fascinating. That is adding a whole nother level of thought to combat for me, which is, yes, it's a headache, but it's something I'm going to have to learn. It's something I'm going to have to really be thinking about. So yes, I expect I will be doing more combat than I realize, than I probably want in Atmosphere, in truth. Especially if CIG puts good things on planets, which they will, because they're huge resources.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to drag you down. They are. Like, if they put loads of stuff in space and I can make loads of money just in space.
Drag you down.
Yeah, exactly. Through the thick atmosphere. But then what got me interested in when they were talking about the densities of atmospheres and stuff was how, like, they were talking about the bigger, larger ships, and he corrected himself, David Coulson. I think he did say the Reclaimer will be able to exit atmosphere with VTOLs and other things. But he talked about the larger ships getting stuck, potentially if you go. And it was like, well, we must have a way of being able to detect how dense, what's the gravity pull. You're going to have to learn. This is a gravity, like in Mass Effect, I think it was, you could scan a planet and it would tell you, once you go into a system, it tells you what the planet was, it tells you what the gravity amount was and all the rest of it. We potentially may have to have that information. You'll scan a planet, it'll say class so-and-so planet with, Jupiter-sized gravity, and then you'll be able to know very quickly from your knowledge. Hopefully they'll put it up on the screen to say, some way of helping people to say these ships cannot go into here because you won't be able to escape. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a dangerous scenario.
That'll be another thing I'm gonna have to know.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's another thing. Yeah.
You're gonna
Sorry,
have to
Justin.
bring out the tugboat, the SRV, and get assistance.
Yeah.
But in other words, everywhere you fly now, you're gonna have to take a tugboat with you. You're gonna have to pioneer to do some basing. You're gonna have to have a repair ship in case the atmosphere does a bit of damage as you come through the atmosphere. You can't fly a single ship anywhere. You're gonna have to come on tow with stuff.
People lost their shit people have lost their shit about this a little bit as well on Spectrum. I noticed people were getting very kind of like, and this is where it was like, people, like, what do you mean I can't? I bought a $600 spaceship and I can't go and land on a planet and take off? You're crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people,
I mean, he made a huge fuck up because it's got a landing gear, it's got thrusters that can turn so that you can take off. And on top of that, it almost come out like a cash grab because it was like, Lando's like, oh, that's why we got the tugboats. It's like, seriously? So you invented tugboats just so you could sell them to people with big ships? It's like, come on, let's not go down that line, please. But it's, I mean, it's some of these ships like the tugboat and, well, like even the Tonk, like you said, it's just randomly stuck in the game, and it's like, well, we have no reason for it at this moment in time.
but they're not in game yet.
Like land,
just a concept.
Land. Yeah, I know. But like,
we used to play Empyrean. It's kind of a cheesy space game, but at least you would know the gravity of the moon or the planet you were going to. And but we used to set our bases on the heaviest of gravity. That way, when people came in to try to raid you, they would just be.
Oh, lost
which
you.
Could be a thing.
What? I lost you. What could be a thing?
Well, in a game like Empyrean, where you could scan and see what the gravity is of a planet, we used to set up our bases on the heavier gravity planets to prevent the bigger ships from trying to come in and bombard us, because they would just be sucked down to the ground and never be able to get.
You never be able to get back out again. Yeah. No,
so what about if you attach your tugboat to another ship, and make that ship heavier? Will it pull it down? So you could just like get a load of loads of those and attach yourself to the ship, and then just drop out power so it weighs it. You could literally pull the ship out of the sky. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? I mean, that would be hilarious to see, but that's something to plan. This is obviously doing that currently in his head, in Evocati, clearly in his brain. He's thinking, but that's a great idea. I love the idea of that, kind of like bees.
Hang on, what? Oh, it's all right. It's just tugboats coming at us. We've got nothing to worry about. And then suddenly, you just hear this. What's going on? Why are we going down? Now this is when you know you've got kids, because all I can think of is Finding Nemo,
when Dory's like, everybody swim down, just keep swimming, and they're all swimming in the opposite direction to the net, so the net's pulling them out, and then that's what all I can think of is that with like the SOVs, everyone, they're all just like, they could be painted like Dory, blue, with just swimming down. Anyway, sorry, I've got two children. My brain is ruined.
Yeah, mad pairs, right? Unless you have the consent of the ship, you're not going to be able to do it.
Don't ruin that one, okay?
Yeah,
Don't-
they
you can hack it.
if you've got enough, but maybe if you have enough though, like who knows? No, I know it's not going to be a thing, but it sounds fun. It sounds like a good try.
No, it sounds fun. Yeah,
It
for
sounds like
science.
it could be fun. Exactly.
Just
Binary loop will do it.
Oh, not allowed. That's it. That's true.
But this was where I got like a kind of a this is the boosting on now afterburners, and then this is when we know we're talking about things getting more and more complicated. Like we're getting into complicated land now, so we're getting into overpowering your thrusters because of ionized, increasing more acceleration, heat systems tuned, so they've improved things. Overheated thrusters, if it overpushes. Now I like the fact that they've said like you're not going to be like completely crippled. It will just be like weakened, is for what they kind of made it out to be. So it's not like it's going to stop and you're just going to come crashing to the ground. Because I was just thinking to myself, like if they make so you can target components, like everyone's just going to go after your thrusters on the back of your ship just to literally kill you in space, you know, just so you, like you do now currently with Connies, you know, you just take off the back engines of a Connie. Like I've been doing that since forever, and you just watch them crash. And in this case now they crash to planets. So I like the fact that it doesn't look like they're going to make it so that they completely die, but they'll reduce the power. But it's you're going to have to watch. You're managing your thrusters, managing your guns, managing your, you know, there's
a management sim complete.
It is. And part of me, again, like I've said before, is I really, really want to have like a ship, like an AI or something in board my ship that I can press, or I can hear it, you know, it says, oh, power thruster is gone, you know, or whatever, background thruster is gone, rerouting power, you know, and it's like on a timer, it's like rerouting power, and it's kind of the repair mechanic for me needs to come before the salvage mechanic now, as we're getting more and more of these things coming in that are taking more damage and have a HP and all the rest of it. It's like desperately need to have more manual repairing and repairing on combat ships as we go along, like R2-D2, you know, like sits in there and repairs Luke's ship, you know, in the middle of a fight, because I want that. I especially when you've got 10 minutes, 12 minutes to go and fly away and come back again to a fight. How much better would it be so you could go away, or your ship can be repaired to a degree to keep you in the fight for a bit longer? Because nothing worse than disappearing in a fight and having to go away and come back again for 20 minutes, you know? It's like when you could get that little bit, you know, you could fly away and your ship could be slowly repaired just enough to get you back into the fight, you know? That's just my thought on that.
I can't even stay in the fight for 20 minutes, and I'm hanging for an extra 20 minutes.
But when the fights get bigger, like as they will do, they're going to gradually the scale's going to get bigger, and you know you're going to be in bigger systems. We're going to have bigger jump points. You know, you don't want to be dead like in 5 seconds, or you certainly don't want to be in you. Yeah, I definitely want to have it so that I can repair my ship a percentage.
Like,
you know,
repairs. I mean, obviously, the whole point is in a slightly multi-crew one. That's what the crew can do. The single fighters, yeah, you do. I don't know if we'll have it, but it would be kind of nice to have some sort of almost like little robots that would do basic repairs.
Yeah.
Like you said, because in big fights, like I mean, especially, I mean, I know that's going to change, but if things get knocked out pretty quickly, then you're stuck. You know, like not doing anything pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I said I don't. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't repair. You know, it could repair the ship to like 60%. You know, if you leave it long enough, but it could be enough just to repair it up to 25-30%, just to keep you. You know, you could. You know, just enough so that you can come back, or you can kind of keep the fight going. You can set the. You know, it's like I said. It's just think R2D. Just think R2D2. You know, that's the what I'm thinking. Just think of like a robot kind of in the back that's kind of effectively. And I don't know why Chris hasn't kind of commented on that type of thing, because he's a massive Star Wars fan, and I'm just like, dude, like that happens like literally in some of the most exciting moments in Star Wars: A New Hope is with R2D2, and you know, and like he gets shot in the back, and like when he gets blown, and all that stuff. It's like. Anyway, I know. Sorry.
No. You just need to do a voice attack from voiceover for Voice Attack Madness.
Mm.
That way, when I tell my droid in the back to fix my Star Runner and be like, "Yeah, fix the coolers," and then all of a sudden, Madness's voice comes out and says, "Suck."
Suck balls, suck it. I got 2 words for you. Suck it.
The champ, is it?
Yeah, the champ. 2017 champ. Yeah, no, yeah, that for me is getting more complicated, which is fine, but it's like, I think we need repair before salvage, actually, in truth. But just, my thoughts on that one.
Well, I want to see some ground personnel getting out on the pad and like welding a new wing on. That's what I want to see.
I'd like to see wings not falling off. I think Moist has been on a bit of a campaign as well. I'd like to see wings falling off a little bit less easy. That would definitely for the Gladius. That would be nice, because otherwise I'm just an arrow or in the bucket. Just they can fall off, but not quite so easy. That would be nice.
Any ship I fly, basically.
The thing I loved about RTV as well was that, and this is where I know that David Coulson's clearly been talking to a lot of good combat pilots, and I know he has, because he talked about WAS&D is now default strafe. And I was like, as soon as I heard him talk about how they've kind of changed that instantly knew that, he was talking straight to the combat pilots, because that's what we've all been doing. He's like listening to what we do as the kind of the meta in terms of like making our ships fly better and get the most out of them. And he's making that default, which is fantastic. And I love the fact that he said to Disco when they're talking about the ESP, and he was saying that, and Disco was talking about how it's really nice because you can get ships to kind of. He didn't like it initially, and then he was like, "Well, but it's quite good because we can get ships to fly together." And he's like, "No, it's really annoying, and we're focusing on combat." And I was like, "Good on you," you know what I mean? I was like, "Awesome." I was like, "Yes." He wasn't trying to make things look pretty for cinema. He was like, "No, it's annoying. We want it to work for combat." So they've obviously reduced ESP now, so it's not quite so. It doesn't drag you anymore quite so viciously into a ship and you crash into them. So, Devil TV, I hate to say it, but your ramming days could be numbered. You're gonna have to actually aim a little bit harder. Bless you. Good luck, darling. And then. For anyone who doesn't know, Devil TV, she's an awesome streamer from America, and she loves to ram people in her a Scythe or Glaive. I think she runs, so, but it's not going to be so easy now. And then VTOL mode, they're not like hovering in atmosphere. It's still here, 3.5. It's probably going to be here for a little bit, I imagine. The VTOL stuff's not going to come just yet. They need to figure out. I think they're focusing on the combat, making the space flight perfect for like we know for Squadron 42, making that really, really good. And then I think all this VTOL and hovering in atmosphere and stuff will start to come a bit later, which is what they said, effectively. And the Dragonfly looked pretty good. I don't know about anyone else when they saw in the video. I thought it looked the right medium between the two. The only thing I will say, he does say, like, some of the questions was about if you go from atmosphere, in space into atmosphere in a Dragonfly, that you will crash land. And then I watched this on, I got this on, then like in the YouTube video, like on the video, let me just, is this the right one? Hang on. Yeah, I got it here. Sorry, hang on, ignore me. I got this one here.
RTV.
The RTV one, it basically said you boom, but then I saw this and I was like, hang on, so if we're going to blow up when you come down, this didn't really kind of go with quite what he was saying. So if you notice towards the Dragonfly, it kind of takes off.
It really ramps up at one point.
Yeah. Because he was saying, you come down at a great distance, it's going to blow up.
No, because what he was saying was it's got dampeners. So the dampeners are still there, but they're nowhere near as powerful as they were. So if you come from a really high distance, those dampeners are not going to kick in quick enough.
Yeah.
Whereas
okay.
I kind of.
I was like, whoa, what's that?
Quite a while on that one.
That's pretty fucking high. I was like, when he comes down, I'm guessing it's work in progress still, obviously, but then he comes down here, and then I was like, that should have exploded. That would have been boom for me. That should have been.
It did kind of bump on the floor, though, just didn't explode. So.
Or red, maybe, maybe it was.
Yeah.
But it felt like it went a little bit too. I was like, whoa, okay.
I do like the jet ski model, though.
Yes, same.
Yeah, I like that it hovers a bit, because if they took that out completely, it wouldn't have been so good. So I think that's what you want, is the good balance between it going up. If you do hit a big bump, it hovering and dampening your fall, but gripping most of the time. I think, looking forward.
But I look forward to seeing the knocks. I was just disappointed they didn't show the knocks. Actually, I would love, because I have that, and the only reason I'm hanging on to it because I keep believing that maybe they'll fix it. But I'm so close to just melting it. It's ridiculous, or upgraded CCUing it. So I just don't know.
If these little guys are so easy to make, though, where the hell is the Origin X1?
Well, that's a good question, right? What I'm hoping they've not done it because they know that they still haven't figured out this bit, which is spinning wildly out of control, which is hilarious.
Well, that just proves the point. Thank you.
You've blacked out on it. Yeah, Boyd Dark says that they had God mode on, which is most likely with the amount of smashing around he just did then. So that makes sense. I completely forget that they do that type of stuff. Melt your Noxes and get Dragonflies. There's no point having Noxes.
Yeah, I've got. I think that's probably the best. I'm also hopeful that they're going to produce like a motorbike with wheels and stuff. That's kind of my I really want to land base more with wheels, like a 2-seater kind of motorbike and stuff. It's difficult because I always wanted the speeder from Star Trek. Like when I saw the Nox advert, the hover bike. And I was like, when I saw the newer Star Trek, and he had the bike, the young boy at the beginning with the the older, not young boy, he was in the car. It was the scene afterwards when Kirk rides up on the hover kind of motorbike that looks like a cafe racer. I was envisioning that for the Nox, and I was super excited, and it's just not quite done it, but we'll see. And then we can quantum. Oh, that's different. Sorry.
I think that was
that's
last time.
That's pretty much. That's kind of it, really. Decoupled looks amazing. They fixed loads of bugs. The Cyclone can't do anything. Yeah, it's good. So I was very pleased. Honestly, RTV was excellent. 3 weeks too late, but excellent.
I actually couldn't watch that one, man. For some reason, I just couldn't watch.
Really, I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was really informative, and I enjoyed it. Apart from the black darkness, that was terrible.
It just went over my head. I was like, what are you talking about? Turning thrusters.
And who is this bad pilot?
Yeah.
Oh, Chris. Well, he's there for the ladies, isn't he? Clearly. He's for the lady viewers. Handsome man like that, get him on screen. That's why they got me on. That's why they got me on. That's why they got me on here, for the ladies, clearly.
That's why I'm blacked out to keep.
That's why I gotta keep make myself the attractive one on the show.
Yeah,
best one I've seen. Granted, I haven't been on here long. No, it was a good one. Like I say, go check out the older videos though. Go and look at some of the old ones, Monkey. There's some really, really good old ATVs. There's some fantastic ones. Really is. From like when we had the drought period in 2017. There's some good ones. Check out the if anyone's new to StarCitizen, I thoroughly recommend checking out the roundtables where Chris and some of the head guys at StarCitizen sit around and discuss a lot of their ideas for the games. It's great. 10 for the Chairman is always very good as well. Gives you a real sense of.
They're so out of date that everything they said doesn't count anymore.
Yeah, well, not necessarily true though, because like Death of the Spaceman effectively still maintained the same. There's a lot of things that they've shown way back in those original ATVs and stuff that suddenly are here, like VoIP and FOIP. They were right back at the very beginning. They talked about those things in old ATVs and talked about where they wanted to have this voice system. We showed on this show just the other day, a couple of weeks ago, we showed Chris was planning and thinking about StarCitizen way before he even, 14 years, I think it was something ridiculous at that, before in an interview he talks about it, and it was literally what became a StarCitizen. It's yeah. There's a lot to be learned. Yes, I agree. There's a good chunk of stuff where you go, oh, so Squadron 42 is coming out in 2016, is it? Oh, good. I think Fenrir and on my Discord channel, he posted up food for thought in 2016. Another thing in 2016, Chris states that he didn't want to show Squadron 42 the vertical slice because he didn't want us to see it until it was polished. Then a year later, he showed us 80% a polished vertical slice. We know that because of the most recent Squadron 42 trailer with the updated textures, etc. I'm not quite sure what you're trying to get at, but I mean, I think we're all very aware that they have fallen massively behind their own time frames for Squadron 42. There's no question. We will judge Squadron 4. I will judge Squadron 42 on the finished game. I think that we're at that point now. They're late as hell. They need to deliver it, and it needs to be amazing.
Yep.
And it needs to be
okay. So we got
amazing.
3 questions. So we'll just go through those quick.
Yeah, go for it.
So the first one is by Not Serious. So I don't know if it's a proper question, but there you go. What do you think they do with all the human waste on Arc Core? Cutlass Brown concept coming soon.
Probably.
I mean, you laugh, but like they seem to just concept a ship with some imaginary thing, so you never know.
I know. I mean, for me, I would be like, they should do like an industrial, gas ship. Can convert all that into a gas-powered spaceship. Yeah, I kind of, it would be natural, like with recycling and saving. You'd naturally think that they would recycle all of the waste and turn it into like either fertilizer, like they do in the game, fertilizer and all that kind of stuff. So I would bring that all into the industrial farming kind of aspect of the game and see where you go from there. Farming ship.
I think Cutlass Brown sounds kind of cool.
I like the Cutlass Brown.
I think it's good. I mean, you got all the different colours. You pretty much got a snooker table. You could like.
Yeah, that one.
We're gonna have a Cutlass Pink. You should start a kitten one.
I'm just. Has everyone seen the Blade Runner, the new one, where the wrestling guy? I think he's at the beginning, and he kind of runs a protein farm, and he comes out of the protein farm wearing the kind of all that kind of gear and stuff, like gas mask, and he's all tubed up and stuff. That would be the Cutlass Brown crew. That's their spacesuits. That's what they wear.
Well, we've already got like that brown suit, or was it a grey suit that was supposed to be in the miner outfit in game? That looks like it could be the.
I have to say fertilizer very carefully because I do come from Somerset, and every now and again I can get caught out on the fertilizer.
Certain words come out like fertilizer.
Got my combine harvester. You're right, my lover.
Where are you? So the next question was from Fenry. Do you think releasing to PTU by the end of each quarter is acceptable at this point, or should they aim dates be for live?
Say again.
So at the moment they've got like release dates for each quarter of the patch. Do you think that it's acceptable for it to be PTU, or do you think those release dates should be live? So it's not like they say, "Oh look, we got it out, but it's on PTU, so we've done."
That's only happened the one patch.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think they've been honestly, like, since they've gone into the 4 quarters, they've been pretty consistent to what they've said. Yes, they've slipped up a little bit, but we've had 4, and I can't be too, we do have to kind of give them a bit of a leeway, and I think it's a good halfway between, because you've got Evocati's kind of goes, then you have PTU, then you have live. So for me, it's like a nice middle date. So for me, I'm cool with it.
Jester, what do you think?
Yeah, they only really slipped up that one time. I really don't have a problem with it. I think they've stayed on track, and it runs parallel with buyback tokens, so it gives me a good idea of what buyback tokens I want to get out before, or use my buyback token on before that patch. So I think they're just dead on.
Yeah, and for me personally, I feel the same. It's like once it's in the PTU, then it's out. Like all the stuff that's supposed to be in it is in. It's just being tested, and I'd rather it be like everyone's got access to it. So therefore, if you really want to play it, like technically it's released, and it needs to be fixed before. There's no point putting it to live and it completely be so buggered that no one can play anything, because there's not a decent build and not a bad build. So personally, I think it's fine, and probably better that it's. I mean, if they can get it done beforehand and get it live to live, that's great. But if not, then I think it being on the PTU is fine, because we've all got access to it anyway. So
yeah, I agree.
And the last question is from Fenrir again, and he says, "That's quite a good one. So, how would you feel about CIG implementing new ships or ground vehicles without selling them as concept ships or straight to flyable?" And I think what he means is, how do you feel about them releasing new ships as only purchasable in game?
100% cool with it. Like that would be. Chris Roberts has actually already said that there will be assets in the game that you can only get in the game, and I hope when he says that he means spaceships, because why not? Like we've already, I think maybe some of the Vandal ships. It would be cool if you can only get some of the Vandal ships in the game. You cannot actually get them without going to missions, completing incredibly complicated things, maybe together as an org. Potentially to steal them. It would be fantastic. So I am, for one, hopeful that what Chris says there will come into fruition and will be 100% correct. And I believe if he said it, and it's coming from the man that's running the business, and it's his vision, that it will happen. So yeah, I think it will be in, and it's a good thing for the game, and I think it needs it, because I've looked at the projected, I was looking at some tweet out the other day about the business, the gaming business and stuff, and the whole loot boxing kind of money grabbing stuff. Yes, it makes kind of money, but the problem is a lot of these businesses that have gone down that road, you're watching these real kind of trickling, this real dropping off effect on their business models financially. I think the gaming industry on a whole is kind of in a kind of a potential revolution. Is at a place now where it needs to figure out where it wants to go forward. Something for another podcast, maybe.
I think it's a nice idea being able to, and I think obviously when the game, because he's for alpha UEC, so I think he means during alpha, and I think so when it's live, I know that's definitely what they planned, and I hope they stick with that. I don't think we'll see it in alpha though. I think because they make money from selling these ships, so I can't see them releasing a ship in game without having to release it as a concept or a flight ready ship in the first place, because they can make cash from it.
And Chris Roberts did say that, for the people that can't be there all the time, if they want to splurge and buy the stuff later, that they would be able to, especially with their credits, but they had not said anything about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, we'll see how it all goes. It's going to be fascinating to see how StarCitizen, if they go down a subscription model for paying for their servers and that kind of stuff, If they said the money that we pay monthly will pay for servers. Would you be happy to pay that? Would you pay for subscriptions for the servers? You're not paying technically to get into the game, but you're paying to keep servers open. If you were in your country, for example, or if would you pay, if you had to pay a monthly subscription, if they were to split it up and they make it so that, if you live in a remote place and you need a server, you have to pay for it. Effectively, you can get enough people together, they will open a server for you for your subscription. Just thinking about that type of thing to help people.
That's tough
to play the game though. That's
I know.
Subscription that is what a subscription game does. Technically, it goes to further development and hosting the servers. That's what the thing would be. So,
yeah.
I mean, if you had that's a difficult one. If you playing experience was crap because you lived somewhere where they haven't got a server and there was nothing for you to do, you could get it with a decent sub. Then I imagine if you like the game enough, you probably would. Just the same way you sub, like I sub to an MMO. If the content's good and it's there, I would sub to an MMO. So I suppose yes, that people would.
I have tons of subs out on Twitch for. I'd probably do a subscription. I'm doing one now, and that's just for the help with the ATVs and the RTVs and whatever else.
Yeah. Which
might as well just keep.
But it's more a case of as the game kind of obviously when the game winds down, effectively in terms of content and stuff. The game is finished, it's been released, or kind of got to reach the point of where it's semi-released. Maybe ATVs the content will die down. But they're going to have potentially huge volumes of increased subscribers and stuff. So, where would you see that extra revenue potentially that StarCitizen generates? Because people, it's a thing to do. Do you think it'll be generated through obviously, they'll do more flares and keep people employed to obviously do game assets that you can gain access to from being a subscriber. But will they, could it be potentially for other things as well, like servers and things?
There's a crap ton of things they can do to raise money when it's live. I mean, ESO went free to play and is a massive MMO now and sells skins and expansions and things like that. And Star Trek Online, I think, is free to play, and they sell so much stuff on their store, and it's paying for the game to keep going. So I don't think selling shit is that difficult for them, whether it be skins, flares, hangers, accessories. So they probably wouldn't need to do it by subs. They could potentially do what they do now and just have optional subs if you wish to sub.
Yeah,
that's
what I was saying. If you sub and you can generate enough subs, then you can. Anyway, something for another podcast. Maybe we can discuss it another time.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. There we are. We're done. I believe that's everything. That's pretty much that's kind of it. No real soapboxes kind of this week. The soapbox is positive. Really was just saying how I was very, very impressed with the flight model, and great job. Keep it up. Can't wait to get my hands on it. Keep testing Evocatis. You guys are our elite pilots now, so if you fuck it up, I'm blaming all of you. So don't fuck it up. Keep putting out that great stuff, and I'm looking forward to flying in PTU. What you guys have been testing and improving on. So, also hurry up.
Okay.
I go on the 24th. So
that's when it's going to be released. So
I ain't got 20 days to wait. So see if you guys can get it to us in 2 weeks. Maybe 1 week would be great. Thank you.
So guys, it'll be live or PTU about the 24th. So anyone that's waiting, that's when it's going to be live.
I think they're going to make their timeline on this launch on the 29th.
Is it really?
Well, they always fall on the last Friday, Saturday before the end of the month. Would be on the 29th.
Can I just go? I need literally the soundbite of me saying "fuck this game." I used to have. I need that soundbite. Literally, I need to clip that, and so I could just go walk over. I need to make it into a sound. Fuck this game. Fuck this game. Return this game.
Throw a mouse or something.
God damn it! Again, do you know how many I have missed? Every single one. I'm done. That's it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all later. I'm done. I won't even get to fly the new spaceship. Although that's why I'm glad I bought the bloody thing, because I'm not going to be able to fly the new spaceship because they've now made it so that it's only the new spaceships last for like a day or something in PTU. And
weeks, you won't even get to that. Yeah, that's it. You won't even get that either. So don't bother subbing for that.
Fuck. Refund.
Should have changed his name to a little bit of sadness.
Oh man.
Monkey, if you come back another time and ask the question, we'll talk a bit more about Death of the Spaceman again if you like. But we're rolling
definitely.
it up now, so
we'll
do that another time. But they have got explanations and that for that. So
thank you everyone from Twitch for watching us. Thank you everybody from YouTube that's hung on and watched all the way through. I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you have enjoyed the show, please don't forget to hit the like button. Don't also hit that follow, subscribe button if you've enjoyed what we've done. We do this every Monday. On my channel, on Miserable's channel. Thank you, Jester, for joining us in the end. Really appreciate you dropping in, dude.
Thanks for having me.
We will get you back on again properly with the video and the face and everything next time. That will be great to get you on properly. And just most of all, thank you everyone for turning up and chatting, and big thank you to the donations. I'm going to go check who donated because that's just amazing. So thank you so much. And we will be able to catch us, I think, during the week. Mrs. will be streaming and doing other things on the Daymar Rally sneaker that I'm going to be doing, finishing hopefully a bit more this week. Feel free to drop in. Cool.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
We'll see you. No, that's basically it. Just follow. Make sure you follow everybody. Make sure you give Jester a follow and everybody in the Asylum team. We're all busy, so our streams are a little fluctuated, but we do what we can. Shut up, Des. Yes. So thanks guys. We appreciate the support, and honestly, you guys coming and joining in chat helps make the show better as well, because like I said, we like to interact with chat. So if you want an more interactive podcast, that's what we're here for. So,
exactly.
Cheers guys, and we'll see you next Monday.
See you next
around
Monday.
the first.
See you later. And then this is the after bit where we talk. You guys get to see a scrolling screen that says "See you next week," and then you listen to me struggling to find somebody to host.
It's like, where do we do this? Where the? Oh.
Who's the person that I'm supposed to be doing? Oh crap! Meant to follow. Copy this person. Look, right. Who should we throw you guys over to? Any recommendations in chat? We could go to. We always like to go to like a new person. Is there anyone new? He's French. One day I'll do this beforehand. There's a Super Kienzen. His name sounds scarily un-English. Hang on. He doesn't. Is he talking? Super Kienzen. English. He's got 0 people. He's looking very intently at the screen. Should we just go raid this guy? Just see if anything happens. Do it. Let's do this. Do it. Let us do this. Let's see if he will like it. It'd be fascinating. I always find this could either work or go terrible. It would be fascinating. Let's go check it out. Right, waiting for it. 2, 1, boom. Let's see what happens. I don't know if he probably doesn't even have alerts on it.
Don't think